It's section 15.
Awesome. Thank you, Roger.
You're welcome.
All right, awesome. So yeah, we're gonna cover win the seller. So let's see what we're gonna do here. Let's move along. Boom. All right, so the agenda today, really, what we're gonna try to do today is really, oops, we've got to admit some people. We don't have a tech person. We're gonna identify what we call the qualified A seller and follow up with an appointment. Everything in real estate really revolves around lead generating, having conversations, nurturing, and moving to appointment. We're going to apply approaches to request an appointment with an A seller, and we're going to apply something called the pre-listing criteria to build a seller's confidence. We want to get some information out to them so that they really know who they're going to be dealing with. We're going to demonstrate expertise in handling buyer objections and win business, how to discuss with them what buyers are going to see in their home. We all live in our homes. We all walk by piles of mail on the same kitchen counter for months until people are going to come over, and then you get everything cleaned up, right? So we want to have a discussion with the sellers regarding that. We want to start thinking about what we're going to learn today, and we want to consider what questions we might have and what you guys want to learn more about, right? We're going to do some role play. We're going to do some scripting, and we're going to really get down to business here. We want to make sure you guys are participating. Hopefully you all have some sort of your participant guide, or at least the session printed out or on a screen, or however you're going to do it. Absolutely make notes. We want to make sure that you are asking questions, because we all know if you have a question, highly likely that somebody else has a question, right? Oops, here we go. Somebody else is coming.
Or the same question, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, everybody often is thinking the same thing. And we just, Roger and I would hate to move things along, and, we're not getting you where you need, where you want to be, right? So let's look at this here. We've got, while leads are vital to your sales business, seller listings are critical to your ability to build your business to the highest level with the lowest cost and highest net. And we're going to talk about that piece a little bit, why listings are so important. The last session we talked about moving those A buyers to being from moving those A buyers to being your buyers with a signed buyer agreement. Today, we're going to do the same for sellers. So let's talk a little bit about A qualified sellers, right? A sellers.
So real quick, Deb, if you could just kind of check the waiting room in case there's anybody in there, but so does anybody who understands what an A seller is and what we're referring to with respects to the A, B's, and C's?
No idea.
Oh,
No,
interesting.
Great question. Thank you for being honest, right?
Yeah.
So anybody got any thoughts around what an A buyer might be, or B, and why we would categorize them as A, B's, and C's?
Is an A buyer more likely to buy and a B buyer is less likely?
Yeah.
You're on the right track, but not necessarily totally accurate there. So an A buyer would be somebody that we're considering that might be buying within the next 15 days, or be willing to buy a house within the next 15 days or 30 days, if you will. A B buyer would be somebody that's a little further out, if you will, maybe 3 to 6 months. And then a C buyer might be somebody 6 months to a year. And you would just keep them in your categorizing so you know how to communicate with them. An A buyer would be somebody you're talking to on a weekly, almost even a daily basis.
Right. That's exactly right. And it kind of says it right here on the screen. A qualified sellers. And what we know is they are able, ready, and willing to do business within the next 14 days. I think 14 is a little tight, but this means they're financially able to complete the transaction now, are ready and motivated to make strategic decisions now, and are willing to act now. If you intend to capture the mind share of A sellers, you need to be following up with them daily to secure an appointment. Our goal for all of our sellers is to get an appointment so we can get the listing agreement to sell the house. However, listings give us a huge amount of additional benefits as well. And we'll dig into that a little tiny bit. All right.
Remember, in this course, we're referring to sellers. We're looking for sellers that are willing to and ready to list their houses.
Exactly. This is all about sellers. You know, the beginning part of Ignite tends to be a little bit lead generating driven, which, you know, you're never going to hear us ever stop talking about that. Now more than ever, we really need these skills. We really need these skills so we can get ourselves in front of people. We don't need to know it all exactly, perfectly, exactly right, but better to be in front of somebody and, you know, kind of we'll get our way through it than not to be in front of someone, you know. Oh, all right, so I've got sound going on the waiting room. Can you guys hear when that goes off, just out of curiosity?
Yep, it ding dongs over here like a doorbell.
Okay, so I'm just gonna leave it. Hopefully, you know, it won't be too disruptive. Okay, so all of our clients are amazing, right? We love them all. So we're gonna look at the 3 L's of the MREA, which is, you know, what we do, right? All of our clients are amazing. We are grateful for them for choosing us. Therefore, we need to give our best work and efforts. Sellers are why are sellers? Why do we like working with sellers? Just real quick. Why do we like sellers? Listing homes. Anybody?
I would say because they already have the product as opposed to a buyer. You might have to show them many houses before they buy, but a seller has the product.
Absolutely, Brian. You know, sellers are clients, you know, well, buyers are clients too, but sellers are the highest level of clients because they're not buying something online or off a shelf. They're hiring you for your expertise, your business experience, all of the above. So it's really a solid, good level. And that's the 3 basics of the MRE, just like we've been hearing since day one. You've got to get your leads and you've got to get your listings. Listings, we don't have to drive them anywhere, you know. And the other great thing is we have other people selling them. And then of course we have our leverage piece. So let's move on and let's see let's talk a little bit more in detail about the virtues, as they say, of the seller listing, right? And this is straight out of the MREA book. And, you know, let's talk through it a little bit. This is also in your participants guide. So listings mean more. I'm going to walk through it. We're going to talk about it for just a minute. So seller listings mean marketing opportunities. Marketing opportunities for who? The house or you?
For both. I would say for me.
It's both. You're right. Whoever said, I think it was Jason. It's for you. Yeah. I mean, ultimately deep down inside, it's for us, but obviously we're marketing the home. The people have signed a contract with us to sell their home and we are going to do our job to get there. But the side of it all is you're really marketing yourself and you can have more control over your time with listings. Listings maximize your per hour compensation as opposed to working with buyers. And you can do more volume in listings than buyers. And the other thing, this is really good. You're on the forefront of pricing. You know, you're really, you know what I mean? You're really on the forefront of pricing and it creates a really intimate knowledge of the market. When you get a listing, you're really deep into making sure that it's priced correctly, and properly marketing listings obviously brings more business to you, right? And you know, we've all had that. Roger, I'm sure you've had a listing. And what do you get with listings?
So I think of listings as, in referring back to the last slide, it's leverage too, right? We can leverage that listing to obviously for us to find more buyers. We can leverage that listing to door knock or invite the neighborhood to the open house, which gives us the opportunity, allows us the opportunity to approach those folks, invite them to the open house and say, hey, by the way, you know, whenever we list a house, we've found that, you know, in most cases, somebody in the neighborhood's thinking about selling too, and just curious, have you guys thought about selling? It gives you that open door, and that's that leverage piece of that listings leads leverage. And you're right on top of the pricing, because when we're entertaining several offers, we know where the offers are coming in at. Nobody else generally does, other than the listing agent and of course the seller. So you've got an inside scoop on what's really going on with pricing. So for example, I priced a house over in Medfield. We priced at $750 and we wound up with 5 offers, and I knew what the highest offers were. The seller knew, but none of the buyers are buyers agents. They just speculate. So we were able to get them up $65,000 over the asking price. And this is in the last month. So you have that intimate knowledge of the listing and what's going on. And when you take that understanding and talk to somebody in the neighborhood, you know, you've got a line into that seller's mind, if you will, and you know what the buyers are acting like and behaving like. So the last highest offer was 782. They went to the winner went to 815. So they were $30,000 over the best offer.
Exactly. And that's the other thing we do. And we talked about this yesterday we had a marketing class yesterday. It's not about marketing yourself. We do that all day long. We do that in our sleep. We talked about getting back down to basics and learning how to market homes, which again, markets houses. But you're right, Roger. And what else? One more thing. What else do listings bring to the table? Somebody put it in the chat. I saw. It was Kate. She said buyers come with listings. There's a high level of people that walk into your open house that are sellers. And that's something that you just have to remember. They're there, they're walking around, they're pretending they're buyers, they're not talking too much, they're just scrolling around, and they're looking at you and they're evaluating whether or not you are going to be a good listing agent for them. Are you protecting the home? Are you engaging people? Are you speaking highly of the property? And also, are you speaking highly to everybody that comes through? So don't get, make sure we're always, you know, focusing on some of your lead generating time absolutely has to be on listings. So let's make sure that we're getting to that piece, you know? So here's the old 7-step seller service cycle. So we've got, you know, this is just your life in real estate, right? You've got lead conversion, right? That's lead generating and follow-up. That's all, you know, we've been talking about these models. This is the 7-step seller service cycle. You know, the model is proven. To recap success with sellers. Success comes in any market with any seller. Don't get in the weeds about the interest rates and this and that. Everybody sells. We all know the 5 Ds, right? Lead conversion, number 1, which is lead generating and lead follow-up. Follow-up is the most highly underused piece of any model. If you can get going on follow-up and really dig into it and put a system in place, you guys will be very, very happy with yourself. So we've got the pre-listing transactions today in particular. We're going to look at that. Listing consultations, we're going to look at that. Servicing and marketing, that's sort of after you get the thing going and you're working with the buyers and the seller. Then we get into the really cool stuff of servicing and marketing, of course. Then the really interesting piece of real estate called the offers and negotiating piece. And this is the other thing why people are paying you. You're going to advise them on how to handle these negotiations. If you know, Roger said he had multiple offers, they needed him to make sure they sorted through that and just didn't pick the one with the prettiest face. This is a business decision, and that's what we're going to be helping them with. And then the really super important thing, the old contract to close, which is just our job that we do in the background with our team, our lender, our home inspectors that we know, appraisers, just the whole crew, the whole support system behind you that's going to take care of this deal. And then, of course, something else that can be a little bit light on is post-close systems. And we have that in command. You know, we've got some great smart plans and everybody has all of those good things happening. So let's make sure we do that. So far in Ignite, you prepared yourself to show your leads, the value you bring to real estate in their journey. You've lead generating, you've followed up, and you know, the whole 9, and you've qualified them in order to know how your follow-up should be structured. So today, let's, you know, dig in a little bit more on these A consultations. Any thoughts? Where are we? Let's get a little ahas going. What are we thinking? Are we excited? Are we nervous?
So Brian had a great observation, you know, back a couple sessions ago, Brian, and if you could come off and kind of speak to that. So this is that transaction-y phase, right? This is what you referred to earlier in a session earlier. This is taking somebody from A to Z, if you will, but focusing on the seller and walking them through the process. Brian, did you have any thoughts around what you're learning here?
I don't remember stating anything about that, but I'll take your word for it.
It could have been
You guys have to understand, I'm new to this business and I'm watching videos all day long, so it's hard to retain every single thing, but I feel like I'm learning stuff. And obviously the most thing I've learned so far is lead generation, but now we're getting into the guts of it, which is the stuff that I'm very excited about, which is,
Yeah.
you know, the actual real estate work.
Yep. Well,
Right.
the work is, yeah,
I mean, it's
What do
all,
we-
work. Don't get me wrong, it's all work, but this is the stuff you need to know if you're gonna close deals and look like a professional real estate agent. You know, you're not just calling your friend saying, hey, I've started a new endeavor. Now you're actually doing the stuff that, you know, real estate agents do.
right, bringing value to the table. Any other ahas? Thank you, Brian. Like, give us, you're 2 weeks in, tell us, give me some ahas, because if you have them and you say them out loud, that can be very helpful to you as a learning moment, and it will help other people as well.
Yeah, and Deb, if you could check that waiting room, I heard a
Yep.
bang. Yep.
So I have a question. As far as like trying to pick the best offer, if Roger or you can speak to, how did you guys go through and like just, or how do you do in general? Like, what do you think is the best offer? Is it the highest price with the highest down payment? What other factors do you take into consideration?
So just to answer that, yeah, you consider all factors. You consider the motivation and understanding of the seller's involved in that process, if you will. You're counseling them on it. You're presenting them all on it. If you've got multiple offers, you can imagine that it might be a little confusing to a seller, and it's certainly going to feel confusing to a newer agent. So you put them all into a spreadsheet, then I prioritize them for them using my understanding of what might look like the best offer. Of course, they always go for, they're attracted to the most money, so that's one of the number one priorities. But then you're right, and then it comes down to, all right, I'm getting 815,000, but this is an FHA loan, and I've got an $800,000 offer with 30% down payment.
Right.
What am I going to weight that? I'm going to weight that. I go, listen, yes, that's 815, but I'm also, before I even get to deciding and picking one, I'm going to start playing them against each other. I'm going to go to the 815 and say, okay, I'm going to try to make that bulletproof, if you will.
Right.
All right, so you're FHA, you're only putting 3.5% down, all wonderful, but I'm going to that 800 because I want the 800 to go up to the 815, and I'm going to ask permission of my seller. Do you mind if I share the information here with the 800 to see if we can get them up to that 815? In other words, hey, seller has a counter offer for you, Mr. 800,000. You got the deal if you can come up to 815.
Right.
But you're doing that through the council and with the permission of the seller.
Okay.
We do have to ask for their permission.
Right.
We would give them benefits around doing that, and that's just that negotiation. And sometimes I'm doing that without giving the number away. I'm talking to the agent, because the agent might be, the 800 agent might be telling me, hey, listen, they really want this house. They don't want to lose out to a weaker offer. And if I says,
Right.
well, you are not the highest offer right now. So if you want to better your offer at this point, certainly feel free to have the conversation with your client, and they might ask information. They might kind of nibble at me, if you will, negotiations, right? Nibble away and go, well, where do they have to be? I go, well, I can tell you this. I've got 2 offers higher than you currently, although we do love your down payment money. So you don't strengthen that up. And if you do come up, I also want you to give me some language around appraisals.
Right.
You can cover that shortfall if this appraisal comes in, because I don't want people going so high to win a bid, and then I
Right.
have an issue, which I would with an FHA loan with appraisal. So I'm thinking all around that. Your average seller is not going to be thinking that way. They're going to look at 815, but 815. Well, it's 815, but the possibility there that we're going to run into this problem and have to renegotiate it at appraisal.
Right.
800 is the one we want. Let's see if we pull them up.
Okay.
Right. So Jason and everybody, just so you know, and this is how.
Can I ask a question? I'm
Yeah.
sorry, can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
So, yeah, I think it's Scott. Sorry, I'm not good about the names. I should be reading them better. I get what you're saying, but in the big picture, if that 800 says that's our best and final, what do you do then?
Well, if it truly is their best and final, then I go back to the seller and say, listen, this is their best and final. You want me to just let them know that they have to try to push on 815? Or I go back and this is where buyer's agents, a good buyer's agent, I'm listening for that as well. A good buyer's agent is going to indicate experience and wisdom, right? If I went back and say, listen, you know, our best offer right now, the seller's looking at 815. What do you think? You think your buyer wants to come up to that? I mean, it's, you know,
Sorry,
$15,000.
Roger. I called you Scott, sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. So you're it's the dance, if you will, right? Everybody's got their cards to their chest, and then now it might be time for me to expose that one card. Now, I'm not telling them it's an FHA loan. I'm not telling them it's weak on down payment. I'm just giving them the opportunity, and I'm going towards their ego, if you will, too, and the buyer's ego. You know, the seller really likes you as a buyer. You know, you were the first one in, if you will. Maybe there was the first offer. You're using everything in your toolbox, if you will, to try to help that buyer's agent by sharing a little information, you know, not all of it, and just letting them do their job, because their job is to go over and negotiate with their buyer, because I'm not directly in contact with them.
Right. And I think it's important to know, and so Roger, I'm sure when you're having a seller consultation, you're going to be able to say, look at, I've been around. I have, and this is how you protect your commission too. You know, when they start, so we'll get into all of those pieces as well, but you know, you're going to bring experience to the table. And any of you guys, as I see here on screen, have a deal. I am sure that you have a TL or a productivity coach or an ALC person that is going to walk you through your deal. You know, and if necessary, be part of the discussion with the seller. You know, if you've got 8 offers on the table, which we're still seeing, you know, you're going to have help on that. So don't get worried about, oh, I don't want to do anything because I don't know any of it yet. You know, this is something that we have to push through as new agents. Just get yourself some business, and there's at least 10 people in your office, I'm sure, that would help you with it. And just as a side note, tomorrow's class, Ignite sort of walks you through the life of a real estate person. We talked all about getting your buyers going. Now we're talking about sellers. Tomorrow is working with both. Friday is making and receive offers is the topic, as is Monday the 30th, which is, I love this class, the negotiating the deal. And we'll go through all of these things that Roger was speaking of. One piece. There's lots of different theories and philosophies and how you want to handle it, but this is where I really like it. And you know, again, make sure you're learning. You're going to learn in Ignite, but you know, definitely cozy up to somebody, whether it's your coach or something, and make sure that you learn all of these things. And it's a lifelong thing. You're not going to learn it all on Thursday or Friday. It's all part of your business. And as you move forward, you're going to it's going to be really very interesting for you guys. So great ahas. I like it, you know. So I love the engagement. What's going on? Why's my thing not working? Here we go. All right. So let's get back into the old seller scene, right? We you know, we want to convert these A people. How do we know if they're A's? Let's kind of get into that little weird part of it. How do we know if they're A's?
Somebody just said a little while ago that they're ready to buy basically now or within the next couple of weeks. They're ready. They've been approved. You know, they're ready to buy for real.
Right. And and then I think Ellen has a question, but let me just say that, yeah. How do we know that? Is by listening, asking a lot of questions. You know, Ellen, what is your comment? You have your hand raised.
All right, so beforehand, I don't think you saw my question in the chat box or my hand raised. So Roger, what state do you practice out of?
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts, okay. So prior to that, as you were going through the example, and I asked the question, other than the closing date, we're in FHA, maybe 45 days, conventional or cash could be 30, 15 days. Why is your $30,000 better than 3.5%? And I can understand where the appraisal may be an issue when it comes to FHA. As a conventional buyer myself, I'm still looking at the appraised value, won't pay more than what it's appraised for. But is that a part of your negotiation tactic when you're working with sellers in that?
So if I'm understanding you correct, your question, so not to get into the negotiations too
Yeah.
much, we're trying to get into the seller consultation, but this
Yeah.
would be part of the seller consultation if you use the stories of your past experiences, which you guys would use the stories of, say, mine, for example. So the way I look at down payment money, if I'm putting 30% down, and that's what I alluded, if they were putting 30% down,
Mhm.
that person automatically can cover any shortfall right there. Because they can go down as low as 20% and still avoid private mortgage insurance. They can still fund. The bank doesn't really care what the value comes in at, as long as the buyer in this situation has plenty of funds there to absorb any of that. Now, if I'm only putting 3.5% down, that's an FHA loan. FHA loans are, subject to appraisals. For one, you'll get that in when you start doing those. And also, I can't go to 0% financing. So if I come in short on an appraisal, the buyer has to make up that difference and either put more money down to get themselves back up to 3.5%, if you will, or the seller has to concede and go back and say, all right, if you don't qualify because now you don't have the 3.5% based on the appraisal, I'll lower my price. So it just becomes an opportunity for buyers to nibble away or negotiate. You just want,
Yeah.
you want to address that before you get there. It's okay if that happens. If that was your only offer, it is what it is. But if I've got somebody that I can go for that's putting 30% down, that if it comes in short, well, all right, so now they're only putting 25% down. Lender doesn't care, that they're still good with that loan.
And they simply just have more skin in the game, more
Right.
money for them to lose.
Yep.
I'm confused because what difference does the down payment make? Because they're getting a loan for the entire amount.
Exactly.
The seller
that was
is
my
getting
point.
the seller is getting 800,000, no matter if it's 5
Exactly.
down, 10 down, 20 down, 30 down, they're still getting the whole.
In Connecticut, we offer different programs, but to me, as I'm listening to, it's like steering my seller. I don't want to get on that line of steering. So we only want conventional people that live here to buy houses. So I want to be very careful, at least here in my state, or at least for myself. I got into real estate to help people and helping both sides. But what I don't want to do, at least for me, and you said this is not about negotiation. Everyone's going to have their own way of doing things. I understand that. I was thinking you were in Massachusetts, just kind of the way that tactic went, that won't fly here. But thank you. That answered my question. And the other person, thanks. You heard what I heard. All right, keep going. I didn't want to interrupt.
Yep.
Right.
A good point. Those are things to have with your mentors so you can get some real good understanding around. And I call it the math, if you will.
Your fiduciary duty is to whichever client you're working with. In this scenario, we're working with the sellers, and your fiduciary duty is to work on their best interest. And again, they'll address all of that in negotiating and the making and receiving offers section of Ignite. Because yes, they get all the money from the bank, but it's more risky the less money they have down, which is tough because it's sort of hard for those guys that don't have a lot of money. But that's, the way it is. But you guys will talk more about that. So let's get into working with sellers and getting some listings so we can get some offers that we can worry about negotiating, right?
Right.
If you don't have any listings, so let's, where am I? Let's go, what are we on here?
Actually,
All right. All right, so basically, let's talk about converting let's get some appointments going. We want to respond right away to every inquiry. If anybody even acts like they want to sell, get an appointment with them, get valid and complete contact information, get them in command, and immediately create an opportunity in command. So you're not scrambling around doing it later. Even if you have someone that's not going to sell for 2 years, create an opportunity in command. It's all sitting in there. Get your work done while you have a minute. Then we're going to start to learn about determining their motivation to sell so you can speak to it. Everything in this real estate world really in the core comes down to their motivation. And that's something that you will learn as you move forward. Obviously, we want to set an appointment. We're going to get a date and a time as soon as possible, and then get them a pre-listing packet, right? So let's look at this next slide, which I think is interesting, and we can talk about it. Ellen, you have your hand raised still? Ooh, Look at me, I learned how to do that. All right, so let's talk about what sellers really want from their agents. And this is from 2021. I don't know if these numbers changed at all from 2022, but we shall see. I don't think so, but we'll see. I don't know. 27% of the agents, of sellers wanted help. Where am I? Am I in the right thing? Yes.
Yep.
27%. Why isn't that looking right? They want help.
I don't think,
Pricing.
no, the colors match, so the 21% would be the top one.
Yeah, but 27 is other. Oh, got it. So 21% of all the people wanted help pricing their home competitively. Yes, everybody has Zillow and this and that, but at the end of the day, they want a person sitting in their kitchen telling them how much their house is worth. 20% wanted help marketing the home, right? 16% wanted it within a particular time frame, which is that motivation piece. 16% wanted to, they wanted advice. What do we need to do? What are we going to do? How do we make this house? Do we need to fix anything up? And then 27% is other. So I wonder what those other things were. Anybody have any thoughts?
Help them find another place.
Absolutely. There's a huge number of people selling a house in our area. It's about 75% of the people that are selling a house are buying something else. Same thing with buyers. They usually about 75% of the buyers walking in the door have something to sell. And there's more data on that as you roll along. So this is basically, saying what,
Hey, Deb, I'd like to pose a question for some thought right there.
all right. I like it.
If you think of that wheel of what's most important to the sellers, what would be a statement that you could say with respects to almost like a script, if you will, to say, if I was trying to impress a seller, and it would obviously be authentic and true, right? What could I say to somebody, keeping in mind what's most important? They're all important to everybody at any particular time.
But
if price was very important, staging was very important, in time frame, meaning the speed of the sale, if you will, with a top three. What if you were to make a high impact statement by saying something to the effect of this? So, Mr. and Mr. Seller, after all, what I'm here for is to help you get the highest and best offer for you and your family in the quickest period of time. And absolutely, I'm going to help you prepare your home for sale so that we can ensure that you get the highest offer possible.
That's awesome.
that's exactly it right there. Roger, you just said it. Case closed, class over. No, but that's exactly what you do. You say, and that is what we do. We help people price their house. We've learned how to do CMAs. I don't know what class that was, if it was even in here. That's local to your own market center, probably. And we know how to market it. Make sure you're attending a marketing class at your office. We're going to know their timeline. Some people want it to be fast. Some people need it to be slow after the kids get out of school or whatever it may be, right? And then, yes, we're going to advise them what they need to do. If they need to do a million things or if they need to do 3 things, we have stage consultations and all that good stuff. So be confident in who you are. This is really what you're going to be doing. And that's what you're going to be doing for sure. So here we go. Yeah. Like I said, build confidence and trust here. So as you talk to the seller, you get your point, and remember that these conversations lay the foundation for your working relationship. They're hiring you. They're paying you a lot of money. You don't get all of the money, but they're paying into the system a lot of money. Really, the buyer pays it with the price of the house, but we won't get into that. So your first goal is connecting is to build confidence and trust, right? You do that by exuding confidence in yourself and showing attentive professionalism by asking a lot of questions, right? Your focus during the process is not to sell. You're not selling anything. You're providing value. You're meeting their real estate needs once you're in your appointment. They intend to experience what it's like to work with an agent who asks a lot of questions, listens, and cares, right? It's kind of a delicate balance. You have to show them what you know and see why they should be confident in you while not overtaking the conversation by asking too few questions. And we'll go over some of those questions in in your listing presentation. And definitely it can't be all about you. It has to be about them. When you're sitting around talking about how great you are, that's not gonna really work. You know, it can be a buzzkill, you know, for the seller. They really, this is about their life and their home and their kids and their family and whatever the heck they're doing in their world. It's an extremely delicate matter and it's an emotional decision for them. If they think for 1 minute you don't care, they don't care what you know, right? All right, 7, close to appointment tactics. Let's talk about that. Any questions so far? Let's just check it out. Anything before we sort of move to, hey, we're getting an appointment?
I just have a quick question. It's kind of related, but not. Why does the seller have to pay the buyer's fee? The buyer's agent's fee? Why doesn't the buyer have to pay that?
Well, the buyer is paying it in the purchase price of the home. Contractually speaking, and this customarily in most of New England, I would say, the agreement is the seller signs the contract and we're not really going into contracts here because you have to do them in your own state. But typically the seller is agreeing to pay the commission. And then from that commission that comes from the proceeds, that is split out, hopefully 50-50 between the listing agent and the buyer agent. And then they do their splits with their own office. Does
So in
that
other words, that price is added into the cost of buying the house?
kind of, it's baked in a little bit, right?
So,
Roger, am I saying that, stating that correctly?
yeah, so you think of it's semantics, if you
Yeah.
will, right? There's going to be a
An
purchase.
age-old argument, kind of.
Yeah, it's who's paying what. And I kind of chuckle and laugh, and that's kind of what Deb's alluding to. It's like, listen, you're both paying it in one way or the other. It's going to come from the proceeds of the sale, $400,000, 5% is $20,000. So the appraised value comes in at $400,000. The whole world sees it. That's the purchase price. Well, guess who pays the commission? Both the buyer and the seller.
Mhm,
It's 20 grand is getting carved right off and going off and pay the fees.
Right. If you buy a car, that commission to that sales agent, or whatever they're called, is baked into the price of that car. If you buy a
see what you're
refrigerator,
saying.
yeah, if you buy a refrigerator, somebody's, Forest Appliance, they have to get paid for their service, and that's what we're doing, so that's basically what it is, and it's kind of a long-term joke about it. Without the buyer, you're not paying any commission, right? So anyways, okay, where are we? 7, close to appointment tactics. Let's talk about that. So, okay, cool, great news. The same close to appointment tactics you use with buyers basically work with sellers. So let's look at them. So you've got to, okay, so don't leave any conversations without asking for an appointment multiple times. It's okay. That's your sales, you're a real estate person. You're not a florist, they're expecting you to be a little bit motivated. If you're not motivated, they're going to think you're not motivated. So it's okay to ask for an appointment. Hey, let's sit down. There's all kinds of strategies to use, and we'll go through them a little bit. If they just say, no, we're not ready, no worries. Just remember your value. You're going to work hard for them and do a great job, and they'll benefit from having you as an agent. Success in this job is really equally as much as your mindset as the hustle. Believe in yourself and others will do the same. Go back to the old 6 personal perspectives. I don't know if you've taken that class or seen it. And, don't worry about your own limiting beliefs. Get on the phone, have a clear plan, and call people and offer your services. So let's show some close to appointment tactics. Let's go through these a little bit. So obviously we're going to show the benefits, right? What's the take back close mean? Anybody know?
My guess would be kind of suggest that you're taking it away from them so that they want it even more.
Yeah, that's kind of a good way to put it. I like that theory. How about negative positive close? What do you
Tell
think
them
on
the
that?
goods and the bads.
Yeah. What do you think on that one? Negative positive close. Roger, any thoughts?
So an example of that
Give
might
us an
be
example.
somebody might be thinking about not putting their house on in the wintertime for their obvious
yeah.
reasons, right? And you might say, well,
Always.
the negative would be A, and the positive would be B. In other words, you're giving them a juxtaposition. So, well, listen, yeah, I agree with you, and that makes sense to me too as well. Having said that, there are more serious buyers in the wintertime because they basically want to, or at least in some cases have to buy in the wintertime. And there are less homes on the market, so the competition is less for you too as well. So as a seller, would you rather be the only home priced properly in the market and have the real serious buyers working, or would you like to wait until the spring market where every seller's got their house on the market now? Yes, there are more buyers, of course, too as well, but you've got now more competition.
Right.
Well, how does that feel to you, or what do you think about that situation, Mr. and Mrs. Seller? And then you shut
Exactly.
up and let them think and ponder that and go, I didn't think of it that way.
Right, exactly. Just say, here's what we know. You know, people who are looking for property a week before Christmas in the snow in New England are motivated. And there's less inventory. And that's a discussion we should be having right at this exact moment in time. When we're calling people and they're kind of thinking, I don't know, I might wait till the spring and the flowers and all of this. And the interest rates, you know, all whatever they're thinking, you are simply going to say, it would be smarter. You know, here's what we know. Competition is great, but no competition is even better. And if you put your house on the market right now, the buyers are out there now. The rates were low, then they went up high. They weren't even high, but people thought they were high. Now they're down again, and we're seeing a whole bunch of buyers come out. So that's your negative positive close. Give them what they're looking for. Thoughts on that? What does that mean? You know, I think that speaks to price. What do you think, Roger? Is that like, yeah, if you want to price it, let's go for it. Just agree to whatever they say and let's go for it.
Yeah, and keep in mind, some of these things work in tandem with each other. So if you think negative, positive close, I was also showing in the benefit of being on the market as opposed to not being on the market, right?
Yeah.
That, you know, that's showing them their benefits. It's thinking by being curious and questioning their thinking by offering them solutions, if you will. And this is all, you know, consistent with objection handling.
Yeah, this is really all about how to make sure that you walk out with a signed listing. You know, you got to show the benefits, you know, you've got to talk about that negative positive, give them what they're looking for. Then the old trial close, which how about, you know, okay, cool. Why don't we do it for 30 days? No pressure. Let's throw it out there for 30 days, see what we get. You know, sometimes people just need a little different plan. You know, you've got to be flexible. And I like the assumptive close. What does that mean, guys?
That you're already assuming everything's going to work out.
Yeah. That's what a lot of agents do. They just go in assuming they're getting it. You know, and that's you should start right now with that attitude. Let's do number 6. You know, just assume you're getting it. Come in, go ready. You know, a lot of, and you know, talk to other agents in your office. Ask if you can shadow a CMA appointment or listing presentation. You know, and you will see them start to talk about when they're sitting there. They're going to be talking about the plan, what we're going to do. How's your schedule look for photography? When are you going on vacation? How are we going to work this into our calendar? You know, kind of thing. That's the assumptive close. And, you know, what's a good representation of tie downs? What do you think? I don't know. I'm not real clear on the tie down one. Amanda, do you have a thought? Okay, let me look in the chat.
So think of tying somebody down is almost putting them into a corner, but not in the sense to make them combative or defensive. Tying somebody down might be making a statement or open-ended question and then answering the question, right? And does that make sense to you?
Right. Circling back around.
Yeah, getting their buy-in and their acknowledgement is tying them down to the response. So if somebody's apprehensive about pricing properly, right, if you will, they want to get 400, you want them to be around 375, and here's why 375. So you're going back up to show the benefits. Listen, if we price at 400, I can appreciate the fact that you want to get 400. Who doesn't, right? We all want more money for our house, but let me ask you this. if your home doesn't sell in the next 30 days because you indicated you need to be out of here because you're relocating or something to the effect, using their motivation and understanding of what's going on in the situation, can you see how that wouldn't benefit you by pricing there? And wouldn't you prefer to have multiple offers in this situation? People needing to get your offer, right? Does that make sense to you?
Right, asking,
I'm
circling back with
to that response, and they're gonna go,
Peter on.
that makes
Right.
sense.
Exactly. So I don't know who it is. Somebody put in the chat, a lot of it is perception on behalf of the seller. Do you guys think that it's just their perception? So you just go in and do your thing, and that'll all, hopefully it'll all work out for you. And all right, so okay, so where are we? All right, so we've talked a lot about objections throughout our time in Ignite, and handling objections is an important part of our job. However, sometimes we need to step back and make sure we're hearing an objection before we handle it. Okay, handling every question like an objection can be exhausting, and it just may not help you be seen as someone who listens carefully. A seller may ask you a question, yet you think it's an objection. It might just be a question. You know, there are two different things and you should respond differently, right? So when a question is asked, answer it. Yes and no is a complete sentence, okay? When an objection comes up, handling it, and that's where you use some of these tools. So if a client says,
I think you need to advance the slide.
no, the next one is ahas. Oh, wait a minute, you're right.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. Questions versus objections. Thank you. When a question is asked, answer it. When an objection comes up, handle it. And again, yes and no are complete sentences. If a client says, what is your commission? Say my commission is 6%. And I suggest we offer the buyer agent 3%. That's it. That's your answer.
So can we ask the question, who would be comfortable if somebody asked you, and we can role play this with anybody.
Yeah, all right, let's role play a little.
We're going to ask you the question, and the question is, so what's your commission? How would you respond to that? Deb just illustrated it for you.
Okay, so I'm the seller and you're, yeah, I'm the seller.
You're the seller, yeah.
Okay, Roger, I hear all that. Okay, so what is your commission?
My commission is 6%.
Okay, so what's the next thing? So would you do it for less than that?
No, but I can appreciate you asking.
Okay, great. So if they persist, ask what's stopping them. So, well, another agent will do it for 4%.
I appreciate that. You know, what is it about that other agent, you know, and how quickly did they defer and offer you a lesser commission?
Oh, they just came right in, 4%, no worries. They'd even do it for less, I bet.
Wow. Well, you know, I can appreciate that. I mean, they, you know, if they're willing to discount their position and you know, offer you 4% right off the bat, are they a full service agent?
Yeah, I don't know. Not really sure.
Well, they may not be, likely, probably not. I mean, I'm a full service agent. I'm going to do everything from soup to nuts for you here. You're not going to have to worry about anything moving forward. I'm going to take care of everything for you. And just a quick question, you know, how well do you think they're going to negotiate on your behalf when it comes time to negotiating your price if they're already discounting their commission right off the bat?
Oh, geez. Well, I don't know. They say they're fantastic, but now that you mention it, I don't know. They say they're great.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can appreciate that, but you know, we are full service and we do charge 6%, and we earn that in negotiations in most cases.
All right, cool. I got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So let's also, when you get this pre-listing package, that's going to be in there. So what do you guys think? Let's have some ahas on that one. Let's talk about that a little bit.
I have a question.
Why won't this thing work? What?
So when he said it's 6%, he's the one that decides that, right?
Yeah, usually your market center. I mean, yeah, there's usually customarily what you're doing in the office. We've got people doing it 4, we've got people doing it 5, we've got people doing it 6. Used to be 7, but yeah, that's usually determined, Jack, by your area.
Yeah. And then when he says
Go ahead.
When you says it's 6%, is that being split again into 3% with the buyer agent?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think, yeah, no,
So not to get too deep into commissions, because
Yeah.
technically it's, if you will, if we discuss commissions, there's a law out there called collusion. We can't compare notes and things like that as agents. That would be considered collusion, but
right,
your commission is up to you. Your market center may have some guidance in suggestions there as well. And the splits are negotiable too. So it's all negotiable and it's set by the market. The market sets those commissions, if you will. So if you've got
Right.
everybody competing against you, giving it away for 4%, well, if you get really good at your listing presentation and building up that value, if you will, and handling the obvious objection that's going to come up properly, you'll do better than those 4%. Now, having said that, again, we're not talking specific about any particular commission. So talk to your team leader, your coach, your agents in the office, and get a little guidance around that. But it's up to you. You could say 10% if you wanted. There's no restriction there, if you will.
yeah, you can do it. You can do 10% for sure. You could say, well, hey, I'll do it for 10%. If there's a lot of ways around it. And like Roger said, speak to somebody who's done it. Totally see if you can shadow somebody on a listing presentation and a strategy session, whatever we like to call it. I love that strategy session kind of thing. So let's talk a little bit. Give us another aha or a question. And then we're going to move to the pre-listing package, and then we'll work on that for a little bit. Then we'll take a break. I'd like to see a couple of volunteers too about doing some questions. So let's get thinking about that a little bit. Give me another aha on this. This so far here, getting prepared to go to a listing meeting.
Hey, Roger, what if the person said, how is it possible that one agent can do it for 4%, but you want to charge me 6%? How is that even possible? What if they word it to you like that?
So you know what, Brian, I can appreciate that question, right? It's a great question. And I can only say this to you. People hire me because they trust me. They know I'm going to answer every question, even the questions they don't even know they're having, and they know I'm going to protect them in their best interest all the way up and through the closing. And I believe your best interest is to get you the highest and best price in the quickest period of time so that you can move forward with your goals here. And I earn every penny of that, and I do it through negotiations and preparing you with all the right market information that you need so that you can make a well-informed decision on the list price that you're going to choose. And I get great results for all my clients, and I've got a list of past clients here. If you'd like to review, you can reach out to any one of them and talk to them about me, if you will.
Right.
Very nice.
Yeah, and that can go a lot of ways. I mean, obviously he could get into his marketing plan, his signage. You're going to have a 30-day marketing plan, hopefully put together. You can say, this is what I'm going to do for my open house. And these are all the things that I work for my money. I don't sit around and get paid for not doing anything. Some people do, but not me. So again, you'll fine tune those systems for yourself. All right, we're going to start moving a little bit. Oops, I missed one. Hold on. Beep, 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 beep.
You're right. That's
Listing package. I think I'm missing a slide here.
right. You're right.
Oh, no, here we go.
There you go.
So has anybody ever heard of the E to P natural ceiling of achievement? Have we done this already in Ignite yet? Kind of,
This is one of the 6 personal perspectives.
it's one of my actually favorite ones. So as we move through today, let's keep in mind the old E to P perspective. What is it? Can anybody say what that means? What does E mean? What do you mean when we say E to P? To break through ceiling of achievement. What does E and well, let's start with what does E and P mean? We're going to spend a minute on this. This is important. Anybody?
So I know what the E means. It means entrepreneurial.
Right.
Experience and profit.
No, but not really.
Good guess. Yep.
Good thought. Good guess.
So-
Entrepreneurial.
and then the P stands for purposeful.
Right.
So purposeful profit. Yeah. Because
So being purposeful is working with some kind of a proven system and model to get you from what you naturally know how to do. You know, the old lemonade stand. You can say, I'm going to be an entrepreneur and I'm going to get a lemonade stand going. But until you pick a location and get a table and a couple of chairs and a buddy and some lemon and ice and cups, and, you know, you've got to have a system. You know, lucky, you know, for a lemonade stand, you have to kind of figure it out and wing it, and your mom and dad help you. But we at Keller Williams have proven systems and models to get you where you need to go. And then you get into breakthroughs. So let's get moving. And part of what this is, if you really truly engage in the models and systems and work with them that you have and fine tune them as best as you can, you go further and faster up this little, what do you call it, projection. So we're going to talk about the pre-listing kind of package and some of that. And
real quick here for these guys, if you guys think of that solid black line, is you guys feeling overwhelmed here? That's you. When you started with the E. And you, it's fun, exciting, and new. And then boom, you start hitting that black line with your head and go, oh my God, this is too much information. I can't take it anymore. Just think of the P too, as well, is this is like a lawyer or a doctor. They start a practice. You guys are professionals like lawyers and doctors. You're starting a practice and you're going to learn a lot in the beginning, get overwhelmed, pass a few tests or roadblocks, if you will, or experiences, if you will, right? All tying into the E and P. And then you'll push through that. And it is a challenge and it can feel overwhelmed, and it does, because there is a lot of information coming at you in a pretty short period of time. Does that help you guys understand that?
Let me look at the chat, see what we have. Okay, hold on. The title was confusing. I'm sorry. I'm just kind of looking at some of the things in the chat. Does that make sense, guys? Everything that you guys are, you know, this is what we hear, what we see. People have felt like this before. You know, we all have. And then everybody else has, and the way forward is to just learn and push through and find the tools and systems that are going to help you push through. You don't have to create the wheel. It's already been, you know, it's already been what am I saying? Put in play. So let's see where we land on that. So, okay. So we're moving forward. All right. So what we're going to do, we're going to talk about a pre-listing packet goals, right? A pre-listing packet does two things. It pre-sells. The pre-listing materials are designed to help the seller's confidence in you. It helps build confidence, seller's confidence in you, and to answer some of their questions and objections before you give your presentation. Sellers use an agent because they need advice and expertise. Making them feel like they better understand the process is important to your value proposition. It saves time. A strong pre-listing package will make your consultation experience, the whole consultation experience, smoother and likely shorter by tackling common objections. And it kind of states your value and what you're going to give them. Pre-listing package tells the seller what you bring to them in their transaction. Remember, sellers have specific goals they intend to achieve, and this is a crucial step in discovering their goals and then telling them how you will help them achieve them, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, so who knows what the pre-listing package is?
Right.
I love the other answer that we got earlier. Not a clue. I love that.
I like it.
Because that helps us, right? So think of your pre-listing package as simply, it's going to be your listing a toned down version of your listing presentation as well. So you're just plucking out pages and getting it to, you know, no more than 10 pages of that listing package, if you will, that's in command in designs.
Yeah.
Already produced for you. All you need to do is pop your picture in there and your contact information in there and kind of tweak it to the state that you're in.
Exactly.
I have a question about that.
Yeah.
Go for it.
So I went in yesterday and looked at that, and there was like, I don't know, 4 or 5, maybe even 6 different ones. And I was like, okay, where do I even start here? Like, is there a favorite, or do you recommend one?
Great question. They're all the same, other than just kind of, one's got a black copy, so don't use that.
Style.
It's gonna burn a lot of
Too much
ink,
ink.
right?
Okay,
So they're all the
that's
same.
helpful. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, and get with your MCTT or a design person in your office or agent services. Some of the coaching programs, just make one and like have it all designed and have it sitting somewhere. So it's something that you want to include in your system. You know what I mean? Let me just see if it shows it here. Yeah. No. So basically, the listing package helps the sellers to get ready to understand, accept a plan that you're going to come in with, right? So you just, like Roger said, about 10 pages, and you might want to have a nice looking cover sheet. And if I can screen share, I think, and show you the one we have, and we can look at it really quickly.
Yeah,
Obviously,
do that, Deb.
huh?
Go ahead and do that if you want.
Yeah, contact information. Let me see. Just
Well,
for a
you're
sec.
while you're moving around there, I'll fill some dead air here, if you will.
Yeah, fill that in a little bit and let me see what I got.
And this is a question to all you guys, and you can be honest, because the more honest you are and vulnerable, if you will, here, it's okay to feel like, oh my God, how do I get all this done? There's other people that can do tech better than, for me, for example.
Yeah.
Go ahead and ask them to help you and barter with them. Hey, for $25, will you go in there and help? Because they just showed you a great one. They might do it. So for example, I use, my assistant. I just pay her to do something like this because she can get it done in an hour. This is going to take me 7 hours.
Me too. I forget it. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes,
Is
Yep.
it the listing your home one?
Yep.
yes.
All right, so I had, because of course I can't do this, I had them take it. This Powerhouse Property is the coaching group's logo. So it's not Debbie Hayes' coaching, it's like people in my coaching thing are part of the Powerhouse Properties. So if you're in a coaching group, or, yours, of course, might just simply say Keller Williams Elite, whatever your thing is, and you don't even need the logo. So this is just, I'm just going to scroll through a PDF. Now, this is 17 pages. This is sort of a pre-listing package and a listing presentation. A lot of people simply email this package over to their people. Hey, I'm going to see you on Tuesday at 2. I want to shoot you over this thing. And then whether or not you print it and bring it, I like a lot of agents print it and bring it with them because it's kind of a little security blanket and you go through it. So we'll go through this kind of briefly here. So your needs come first. I don't think she did one bit of editing on this thing. This is a straight up picture. What's the one thing that has to happen to make your dreams? It's a little dreamy kind of too, so how can I make this happen for you? We have incorporated the process, right? The pre-listing, your initial meeting walkthrough, you're going to prepare a CMA for them. You're going to get your listing agreement and determine the go live. Massachusetts, we're going to discuss Title V, yada, yada. Then we're going to get it listed for you. We're going to get a sign going up and all of that. We're going to do some marketing. We're going to continue with the process, contract to close, confirm your offers, review, get Roger on the horn, make sure we're doing it right. We're going to move through to purchase. This is sort of the process. And I'm absolutely confident somebody in your office can give you theirs and you just have somebody plop it in for you, right? You're going to oversee appraisals and schedule the smokes and all that. Then we're going to get to stage 3. So we go through that. So again, have somebody help you get this thing together, whether it's only 10 pages and it's just straight out of the thing. You guys decide. It's your business. How do you want to handle it? We've got some marketing. This is generic marketing stuff from Keller Williams. You just speak to that when you're talking to them, but make sure you have a marketing plan. Finding your buyers. We've got some data. This sheet is old, 2018. Don't love that, but I guess I don't know if the stats are really all that different. It's probably just the percentages. Your basic, whether you're going to do postcards, so on and so forth. Target marketing. Of course, we have command. So we can do campaigns. We can put your property out there and you can push buyers to yourself. Again, MCTT will help you figure out how to do a command thing through Facebook and social media, and then just more of this promotion stuff. somebody found this for me. This is literally where everything goes when we put it on MLS. It gets sucked up to like all these crazy sites and who even knows how it works, but it does. So find a few things, and then my open house strategy, which I think we need to upscale this one, and just some more stuff. And this is all in there again, a little bit of safety, little COVID stuff, and that. And then bottom line, it's all about you. I'm here to, let's get started. And then here's my paperwork. Let's get going.
And you'd also include here, and granted this is generic, is if you had any reviews or anything like that.
Yep.
The last pages. Here's the 5 last most recent sales I did. And if you don't have any of those, you can get reviews made by, you know, nothing for nothing, any of your friends and family who can speak to your character.
Yep.
Have them write a little review for you, pop that in there. Nobody's going to call you out and say, wait, you didn't sell this person a house. They don't think that deeply. And to be quite honest with you, you're going to get to your listing presentation here and you go, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you know, thank you for having me so much. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk about your sale of your home. Did you read or get to review the pre-listing packet I sent over? 90% of them are going to go, no, I didn't.
All right.
That's why you've got a printed version there. No big deal. We'll go over that in a minute. And then you just.
So this
read it.
whole thing that she just showed us is something that you would send to the buyer or the seller?
Yeah, this is for the seller. This is the listing presentation package. There's also in design a buyer consultation package. So those are the only 2 things you need. So, you know, you can get somebody to help you and put them together. And this goes a little bit deeper with more things, seller expenses, and then it kind of just ends generically. But absolutely, there should be a page for you guys. This is one for a team, you know, so I don't have testimonials in there. But yes, you have professional people that you know that will give you, that can speak to your professionalism as a human being person. Most of you have done some job, you know, unless you just got out of high school.
Job reference, if you will, right?
Right. And even if you got out of high school, you might have worked at a landscaping company, and that person can say, you know, this person really does a great job and totally professional and does, you know, whatever you want to say. But let's put that together. Don't spend years on it. Just get her done. Go ahead, Roger. Looks like you have some.
And what's missing here is that piece. Now, this is the pre-listing, if you will. This is kind of the marketing, the process that they can read them themselves. You don't have to go over it in very much detail. You're going to kind of broad stroke it. And really, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, let's get on to what you really want to know after we talked about the marketing and what have you. You really want to know how to price your house, right? So let's talk about that. And then that's the pricing presentation, if you will.
Right.
I separate the 2 because, you know, and I'm not going to send that in advance. That's what you and I are going to sit down and discuss as a council.
All right, now I need to get back to my thing. Hold on, I gotta find this thing. All right, so get it. Any questions on that? You know, we kind of went a little bit deep on it, but that's okay. We want you to make sure you just put that in play. What do you guys have for thoughts on that?
So Deb, we can take our 10-minute break here. I'll stay right here if anybody wants to chat, and that way there you can get back. Oh, there you are. You're back already.
I am. I'm good. I'm alive. All right. So let's, so we talked about that pre-listing package. Why don't we take a 10-minute break? Is everybody cool with that?
So we'll come back at 25 past.
Yeah. So 25 past, we'll come back in and we're going to start talking about, you know, let's get to the listing consultation, and we're going to do some little role play, and we're going to go from there. So I'll be out for a minute. I'm going to stop my screen share. Appreciate everybody. Wow, there's 1 million people on here. You don't see it when you're doing the thing. I really appreciate everybody's interaction, and we're all going to do great here. So let's just keep at it. So we'll see you in 10.
Can I ask what state you work out of?
Me?
Yes.
I'm in Massachusetts.
I would like to get your information and Roger's information and use you 2 as my Massachusetts agents, because you both are a wealth of knowledge.
Wealth. All right, I'm going to put my name. I'm going to put my name in here. I can do it with my new nails. So I'm Deb Hayes at kw.com. Oops, hold on. And my number is 978-697-7294. We should do this in the beginning, but here I am. That's my stuff. So you know where to find me, and look at Samantha's got a little girl in the picture. I like now that I can see dogs and cats, and it's, you know, that's why everybody should have their screen on, so we get to see each other's worlds. All right, I'll see you guys in 10. If you really need anything, I think Roger's kicking around.
Yep, I'll stay right here. Yeah, guys, if anybody wants to talk a little more, just putting my
Thanks.
contact information in.
Roger, do you have a couple minutes so I can share something with you?
No, I'm really busy right now. Just kidding, but yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I just want to give you a little background here. So I worked for Redfin
Yep,
and totally different business model, totally like I never had to farm for my customers. We had transaction coordinators, so I feel like I'm a little stale and I'm learning a lot.
yep.
However, I also had a listing appointment when I was with Redfin that went extremely well. They know was laid off. They know I'm now with Keller Williams and they're willing to work with me. But they're very old school. Their house is beautiful. It's in Hingham, Massachusetts, but it's very outdated and old. And they don't want to put it on the market until they find something else, but yet they need the money from the house to purchase a house. They want to downsize. I've tried every which way to explain to them that they can be protected by still putting their house on the market. Now's a good time before the spring market. All the things that you guys had mentioned about doing it in the winter versus the spring when there's more competition, and they don't want to budge. So I don't want to be so pushy that I lose them either.
Okay, Judy, so, and just for everybody's understanding, that's an objection, right? And there's probably several objections buried in there. And I'm just
Yeah.
gonna role play with you. You play their part, I'll play the agent. And we're gonna get to a decision. So if you guys want to write this down, I'm gonna give you a little acronym or some words, and it's top to bottom. First word's cushion/empathy. Cushion/empathy. Next one's repeat/acknowledge. Repeat/acknowledge. Next one's an easy one. Isolate is one word. Next one is handle the objection. Give alternatives or solutions, right? Handle the objection, give alternatives or solutions. Repeat it one more time. Handle the objection, give alternatives or solutions.
Yeah.
And then a final one is close for a yes or no, or at least understanding. In other words, does that make sense? Okay. All I want you guys to do is just watch the sequence. When I go to isolate, it's going to sound just like this. Is that the only thing that's bothering you? Right? That's me isolating somebody, right? And that's goes back to those closes. It's a tie down. Okay. Now, if it's not the only thing, then I want you to come back at me with, well, it's also this, this, and this, because those are the other objections. So the process is right in front of you, if you will, right? So it sounds like this. Oh, I can appreciate that. And you've heard me say it a couple of times, right? Oh, that makes sense to me. Yeah. Who doesn't want more money, right? That's me taking somebody and cushioning with empathy and then repeating back to them and acknowledging what they say so that they feel heard. Critical points. Have to have empathy and have to have some understanding of what's going on. And I have to repeat it back to mirror it back to them, if you will, so that they understand that I just understood what they said. And if I didn't and misspeak it, they're just going to correct me, which is wonderful, right? That's what I'm looking for. Oh, okay, I get it now, right? Okay, that's what it all sounds like in a conversation. So I'm just searching, right? So having said that, you gave me some feedback. We're going to walk through, then I'm going to isolate, then I'm just going to handle the objection. And sometimes handling the objection is, well, Judy, it sounds like you guys just aren't really ready to sell. Tell me more about your motivation for selling and why you're selling. Because now I'm just searching for more information. I'm circling, I'm just bringing it right back to the top of the pyramid, if you will, and I'm just going to move back down because eventually I'm going to go, well, Judy, so do you, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being absolutely have to sell and 1 being don't want to sell, just kind of think I should, right? I'm testing you there. to find out where your motivation is. Okay. So just keep all that in mind, if you will. All right. And you'll hear some repetition scripting. All right. So Judy, you mentioned that you wanted to sell your house, and I'm a little confused. Can you help me understand? I got a few questions for you.
Sure.
All right. So, you've mentioned a few things in our previous conversations. So tell me about the motivation of you selling your home. Tell me a little more about that.
Okay, so we've lived in the house for about 30 years. Our kids are gone. It's a bigger home. We're looking for a single floor ranch style home. We know we need to do some things to the house. We're in the process of having the wallpaper taken down, all the paint just painted like a neutral white. So we are getting prepared, but yet we're not there yet. We really want to find our house that we want to purchase before putting our house on the market, because we need the funds to move forward.
Okay, so you need the funds. Okay. So if I'm understanding you correctly, you are motivated to sell your house. You're downsizing because it's, maybe becoming a little too much work for you. There's a little financial burden. You're kind of trying to mitigate some of the financials, the monthly expenses, if you will. Your kids are all out, so you don't need the space for the kids anymore, although you may want an extra room in the ranch, right, for the grandkids coming soon. Does that sound about right to you?
Yes.
Okay. And tell me the reason why you don't want to put your house on the market. Can you give me a little more understanding around that?
I feel like because of where it is, this is what she said. I feel like because of where it is and the low inventory, that my house won't take much time to sell. I feel like once I can put it up on the market, it will sell quickly. I'm very confident that it'll sell quickly.
Right. Okay. And I would agree with that. So tell me about your plan B, if you will, if you have a plan B, and that would be the next home. What's that going to look like to you? And why? It sounds like you're concerned that you may not be able to find your next house, and you're fearful, which is understandable. I can appreciate that, of selling your house and all of a sudden being homeless, if you will.
Right. Yes. So I don't have anywhere to go. My husband and I really don't have anywhere where we can go if our house should sell before we find something. And we only want few areas like Hanover, Noel, Situate, Cohasset, 15 minutes or so from my workplace. I want a ranch, preferably with a 2-car garage, and our price is around $650.
Okay, so I'm taking notes here, Judy, just to kind of, because there's a lot of moving parts here and pieces here. And you know what, to be quite honest with you, it's probably a pretty scary proposition based on what you guys may be going through right now. Are those the only reasons?
Yep.
There's nothing else?
Not
Okay.
that I can think of.
Okay, and just on a scale of 1 to 10, just so I can get a gauge, don't use 7 because it's kind of neutral. 10 meaning your level of anxiety, if you will, is off the charts, and 1 meaning you have no anxiety, you're cool with everything. Gauge that for me, if when you think of this daunting task, if you will, that's in front of you.
9.
A 9. Okay. So what do we have to do? What do we have to do here to kind of get your anxiety level down? If I were able to answer all your questions and give you some solutions and alternative situations moving forward here to get you down to, let's just say a 5.
Mhm.
Okay, because you should have some. This is a big decision for you to make, and I can appreciate that.
Right.
And,
right.
I'm here to help you through that whole process, and we're going to go at your speed, if you will. But I do have some ideas and thoughts around that, and I'd love to get together and really sit down with you and formulate what I call a plan to do all this. And that's when I ask you a bunch of open-ended questions, just as I have now, and I'm already doing that for you. And then we're going to help you prepare your house for sale. And then we're going to help you price your house so it sells and gets you top dollar in the quickest period of time. And then we're going to present your house to the marketplace to do all that. And then we'll help, we'll help you get somebody to pay for it. And then we're going to do the same thing on the buying side as well. But what I'm hearing you say is you want to have a home to move into before you sell your house.
Right. Correct.
Okay, awesome. That's exactly why we should get together and sit down and go over this. And what I will do is formulate a plan for you that helps you achieve all of those goals.
Great.
All right. When's a good time that you and your husband, because I heard you say your husband is one of your decision makers, that we can get together in the next week or so and go over all this?
So he currently works, so I would say a Saturday morning would be good.
Saturday morning, early morning, around 9 or more like
Sure,
11?
sure. We're up early, so that's fine.
9 o'clock works for you?
Yep.
Okay, Judy, and what I want you to do is set about, just because this is very complicated and I can appreciate how you're feeling. But it is a process and there are going to be ups and downs, and just to set the right expectations. There are going to be some things we're going to consider, but I do have some really good ideas of how we can get all that done and get you what you want and how you want it.
Okay, great.
All
Looking
right.
forward to it.
I will see you at 9 o'clock this Saturday morning. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow up with you the night before just to confirm if anything should change. Okay, please let me know, because sometimes life gets in the way, as you know, right?
Sure.
Right.
Great. Thank
Good
you so
job.
much.
All right, Judy.
Line
I'm
it up.
excited. I can't
So
wait to meet you.
Good job, Roger and Judy. Thank you for being cool with just going through that. Maureen has a question. Why can't we offer to find her home first, then list her home once she finds a home to buy?
So that was a phone call, if you will. And her husband's not even in the room at this point.
Right.
And that's exactly why we're going to get together. And that's exactly what we're going to discuss. We're going to talk about a suitable housing clause so that they don't become homeless. We're going to also discuss a home selling contingency option as well, meaning that I have to, if I make an offer on a house that I like, I'm going to have a home selling contingency. And I'm just going to reassure her in that face-to-face meeting with her husband to get all that done. And we're going to move at Judy's pace.
Right.
Okay.
The
So the
problem
home
is,
sale.
go ahead, Judy, go
So
ahead.
if she were to find if we were to find a house for her, which that in itself, in the towns that she's looking at, the 650 is a little low with all that she wants, but that's not going to stand in my way. But making an offer with a home sale contingency, that's not great.
Well,
You
that's
know,
part of the options, and that's what I'm gonna now. I'm gonna
That's what
that's one way.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
tie you down, and I'm gonna get you to a point. Listen, Judy, it's not me selling your house. You're selling your house, and I'm gonna work off of you.
Mhm.
I'm gonna give you the benefits, the pros and cons, if you will, and give you
Yeah.
all the information. Remember, people hire me because they trust me. I'm gonna answer all their questions, and I'm gonna protect them in their best interest all the way up into the closing. So that means I don't care about what everybody else thinks. I only care what you think. And I tested your level of anxiety, and I need to help you get down to a 5.
That 9's not pretty.
Yeah,
Right.
9, because you're not in sound. If you're in a 9, a high 9, or above a 7, if you will, your answers haven't been questioned. You haven't been reassured. Your
Yeah.
feelings have not been validated.
Yeah.
I'm not demonstrating whether or not I care about you or not. And I'm also devoted to you to take the time it needs to get you to where you need to be. And if you want to prep your house to sell and get everything, all your ducks in a row, then that's what we're going to do.
Right.
Because
It's
this is
a,
Okay, Roger, Roger, you got me down to a 6 so far, so
Oh,
I'm
good.
looking forward to Saturday.
right.
All right.
Saturday,
So-
we're going to get you to that 5, because 5 is probably the norm. That's where you should be. That's normal.
right. If you're 0, then
You're
I
not,
don't know.
yeah.
do you
might
even
be
own
supposed
the
to-
home? Right. So, Maureen, does that sort of answer the question? I mean, basically what happens is if they wait to find the house they like, they're not going to get it because they don't have their house sold because they need the money to sell the house to buy the new one. Does that make sense, Maureen?
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. I guess my concern is if we become so focused on selling her home that we may just lose her as a client completely. Whereas her concern and her anxiety is around finding her next home. So maybe we just represent her as a buyer's agent, and then once she finds what she's looking for, then it's going to be a fire drill for her, and then now she's really going to want to sell.
Then she's
As
going to be
opposed
the
to
level
losing her.
17.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, and again, Roger, he didn't get to in, but there's a lot of ways to protect your sellers with contingencies. And when she has her house on the market, you're still going to run around and show her houses. The problem is the inventory level is low, so she doesn't have a lot, but this is just how it is, you know?
So remember what's happening here. You're putting a carrot for the horse here. I'm just getting together for the listing presentation. When I do a listing presentation, it's the plan.
Yeah.
What we gotta do to get you in a position where you can make an informed decision on how best to proceed forward here. It's not about the realtor being smarty pants or anything like that. It's not about me selling your house and getting commission, buying a house and getting commission. That's going to be part of the outcome. I'm not tied to that. I'm tied to talking to you now, Maureen, because you've got an objection, and I'm going to handle your objection the best I can. And I'm going to take you through that process. You know, Maureen, I can appreciate the way you feel. You're worried about losing the sale and having her go somewhere else. And you're more focused. You want to focus on finding a house for her, right?
Right.
Well, my question to you, is that the only reason you're worried about it?
Yes.
Okay. If I could show you how we could sell your house, get your house under agreement without having to move, you would move on your terms and set you up and find you a house in the same time frame and mitigate the anxiety. I can't abolish it because it is
Right.
going to be stressful for you, Maureen.
Love that word,
Am I-
mitigate.
Am I the type of guy you'd like to work with, or would you like to work with somebody that you don't know or don't trust, or maybe tied to getting a commission? Because I don't care. I'm here to help you. And I'm
Right.
here to make sure you're not going to be homeless and make sure you find the right home for you. And if that takes me a year, it's going to take me a year. And it might take that because we
Right.
have to wait for the property to exist, if you will. And we also have to connect you with the right buyer that's willing to give you the time to do that. Does that make sense?
Yes, they will now. We're still in that market where the buyers are just have to do anything and allow the seller to have time to find a home and all that good stuff. I don't know about you guys, or maybe I'll put this to Judy. Do you think Roger's taking good care of you? And if your neighbor is going to sell their house tomorrow because they're moving to Ohio, are you going to recommend Roger?
Yes, definitely.
Right.
And it's funny, we do text weekly. She prefers text. She just texted me yesterday to let me know the painting was done. I did reach out to ask her if she knew anyone else that I might be able to reach out to that was thinking of selling. And she said, not at the moment, but when she does, she would certainly give them my contact. So I feel like I have a good relationship with her, but I don't want to lose her either.
Right.
You're doing the right thing.
I agree.
And just reconfirm with her and don't be afraid. Judy, awesome job on prepping the house. I'm going to call you next week just to kind of keep updated, see where you are, because when you're ready to put that house on the market, we are still in agreement that I'm going to be doing that for you, correct?
Great. Yep. Yes.
Exactly.
I cannot wait. You're doing a great job, Judy. In the meantime, Judy,
Courage validate.
I'm looking for houses for you should the right one come up based on your criteria. And I'm reaching out to those agents and asking them, would they accept or consider a home selling contingency? Because I got a great buyer who's all lined up. Her house is going to sell within days because she's willing to price it property to get it moved. And she wants to buy a home just like yours. Would your sellers consider that?
Right.
Great.
So-
So
Love it. Love
all
it.
right, so that's good. Let's go back to screen share. And I think that's important to do this role playing, particularly with somebody that's, yes. So make sure you're finding people in your office that can help you with these kind of things. You know what I'm saying? So
Can I
let's
just
go back-
throw something in real quick?
Yep.
Now, the original thing he was doing was she wants to move somewhere, but she also wants to sell her house. Couldn't you also say that there is such a low inventory right now that selling the house won't be as hard as finding your house? Or not saying it like that, but you know what I'm saying? That would be the reality of the situation. It would be way easier to sell her house than possibly finding her new house. And I'm not saying you would say that to them. I'm just asking you.
So Brian,
knows that.
great observation, right? That's why, and that's the conversation where we're going to spend the lion's share of our time in that that seller's presentation, if you will. Remember, this is just me trying to get together with both parties. We're going to make the decision, make sure that they're on the same page, right? And it's not going to be solved in one conversation. It's probably likely going to be over, which you're doing a great job, Judy. You're having those conversations via text, if you will, right?
Mm-hmm.
So think of these listing presentations Yes, some of them happen right there at the kitchen table. Boom, you just met them that morning, blah, blah, whatever the case may
Yeah.
be. And most of them will happen just the way Judy's handling it. You'll be having little bits of conversations.
Nurturing.
Is now you guys now understand that's the needs assessment client qualifying conversation that's happening over several phone calls, several text messages, and I'm building my case and I'm fabricating or putting my plan together so that when I sit down with them, I answer all their questions. They've already trusted me. That's why I'm there, hopefully. And I'm going to protect their best interest all the way through the closing. And I'm going to give them enough market information so they can make a well-informed decision based on their list price that they wind up choosing ultimately in the end, right, with my counsel. And then we're going to move forward with a step-by-step process. And that's when I take over for the most part.
Right, that, and then we'll
All
go
the
through that.
details. They just sit back, get their house prepped and ready. When we decide to work together, that's when I'm bringing my stager in, and that's when I'm bringing the photographer in, and we're going to get it up and running. We're going to get you out there across the country, so everybody in the whole world knows your home's available at a specific price.
All right, good. Another good question from Maureen. So in this case, is Judy's client a B more than an A?
I would say maybe somewhere in between, right?
A and a half.
B
A-
plus, B
A
plus.
A minus, B plus. They're going. She's just getting organized.
Right.
And
It-
Judy's
I
doing
did-
a lot of nurturing and guiding but still in a forward motion.
And asking open-ended questions, needs assessment questions in the form of text messages. Hey, quick
Right.
question. I was thinking about it. How's the painting going? Great. That's me holding them accountable, if you will, helping them, coach them through this process at their speed, at their pace. Now,
Right.
if you want to secure this, hey, Judy, do you mind if I come over for about 20 minutes and really quickly kind of go over the listing paperwork? Because
Yeah.
we are working together. I'd like to get this signed so that I can continue the plan and work on your behalf moving forward.
So that's a
am I-
question. Can
am
I
I-
get that paperwork signed and not go anywhere with it?
It depends. What state are you in, Judy?
Mass.
Yeah, we have something called, I don't know what MLS you're in, but in our MLS, we have something called the non-MLS.
Non-MLS form. Yeah, I've done
It-
that. Yeah.
All of our listings have those because nobody can list their house and be ready tomorrow. So you have the contract, the non-MLS and the listing contract are the same dates. And that's where you come in with, sort of Roger's philosophy of, look at where we're working together. We're going to sign some contracts, but we're not going on the market till you tell me. And we're going to make sure your house is photo ready and so on and so forth. So let's move. Am I screen sharing, guys?
I
Can you
know, I
see?
feel like I'm taking up the whole
That's
whole
all right.
class.
It's important. And what you're saying is what we're gonna be doing. I gotta shut my door. Hold on.
Honestly, you're asking, this is a perfect example for this
Yeah.
section, if you will, right?
Because that's exactly what we're gonna do. Roger and I are gonna do a little bit of sitting in the kitchen table kind of thing. And then you guys are gonna do sitting at the kitchen table kind of thing. So Judy, this is exactly how it works. Sometimes you go to their house, it looks like a museum, and they go on the market next week. I don't know many people like that. It's a huge decision for people, unless, of course, they did get a call. They have to be in, Boca in 2 weeks to start a new job, and then we get going. So the
So
next step.
Just to
Go ahead.
wrap this up and we'll move on with you. So empathy is the key word, right?
Mhm.
She's dealing with an elderly couple with a lot going on and they're emotionally connected to their home probably, right? So it's coming with empathy and helping them with the perspective. And sometimes, guys, it's you're having empathy and changing your perspective on what's really going on. That said, we'll move forward from here.
But
Thank you.
to move forward, keep them moving forward. They called you because otherwise you can't just be loving them for 5 years until they sell. You do want to make sure that you are moving them in the correct direction. So we talked about the pre-listing package and you guys are going to get on that and get it all organized. Nothing fancy, just have it ready to go. And let's prep for the listing consultation, right? The listing appointment. I don't know why this thing doesn't work right for me. What the heck? All right. So we're going to, we've already done we're going to create a great impression, right? We're going to build seller's confidence in you as a real estate agent of choice. You're gonna share your price recommendations, the initial list price of the property and the reasoning behind it. And you're gonna set expectations in how you will market your home. But first, we have to really do the seller consultation, which is kind of what Roger and Judy have been doing. That's not always the case. So what do we do? Okay, we heard at a cookout, somebody wants to sell their house and we're gonna meet with them on Saturday and, you know, we need to dig in a little bit more, and we're going to, you know, really take some time to think about how we use this listing presentations to move the contract forward, because at the end of the day, we want to, we want the listing, you know, at the end of the day, they want to sell their home, and we've got to put the paperwork together, right? So let's see how the listing presentations meet seller needs and wants. So this is where we get into something called the needs analysis. And we're going to talk about this for a minute. So you know how to find the listing presentations in design. You're going to have that ready. You're also going to figure out, does everybody feel they should know the price of the house before they get there? What is everybody's opinion on that?
I feel like you do an estimate, a high and a low. With also that being said, I have not seen the house in person and we might be adjusting.
Exactly. Perfect
Great.
answer. Poland, I'm getting a call from Poland. Interesting. Yeah, so that's exactly right. It is my position, and I don't know, all have your market centers. What is your opinion, Roger? Do you think you need to know how much it's worth?
She just nailed it, right?
Yep.
You're going to, as a professional, certainly have an idea. You're going to have pulled comps. You're going to have looked at it based on square footage, what's on the public record. And you said the perfect thing. You know, having said that, I'm not sharing that information with them until I get there. And I'm going to make an adjustment up or down in that parameter based on what I wind up seeing.
Exactly. Oh, hold on. So yeah, so we're going to get to the listing presentation, right? And this is what we call the needs analysis, and you're going to find your way. And of course, I'm sure in your market center, you have some classes on it. So it's basically the needs analysis like you're going to do with anybody in your world. And it's typically in Roger, during the break, not everybody was listening during the break. I don't know, but it's really the who, what, when, where, and why. So obviously, I know you tapped on that who piece. Where are we? So
So then if you will, and I'll just, as you move forward,
yeah,
if you will, the needs assessment, there it is right there, right? You've got some questions in your book, in that listing presentation to kind of review, and then you're going in there and you're going to focus probably, if you're doing a good job, you might focus 70% of your time in this conversation, right? Because I want to know, what's your motivation?
Yeah, motivation. So we start with who, and why do we need to, we talked about who already. Why do we need to know who's in this process and who's who, by the way? Like, who we talking about? A seller? Who else can be a who in this situation?
Your parents?
How do we know who owns the home?
Okay.
What record do we refer to or check?
Correct. How do we confirm if we're sitting with a couple at a house that they own it?
Did you check the local registry, right? Registry of deeds or?
Ding, ding, ding. You win the prize, Brian. It's the registry of deed, the deed to the property, just like every time a house sells to the new person, you have a new deed. In whatever that property consists of is deeded to the next company, the next person. So you need to verify that you're working if you're going to someone's home, you want to make sure they're the owners and not well-meaning children or well-meaning parents or some ex something or other, or you're not sitting in someone's house and they're really a tenant, just wanting to know how much the house is worth. I'm not going to say me, but that might have happened to somebody like me. So go to a house and the people were tenants. Okay. So, you learn from your mistakes. And Jason, do you have a question? Okay, Mark,
Yeah.
for a sec.
Yeah, my question was, it was a little bit further, but smoke certificates, who do we, I know I'm going way back, but I was gonna ask it for a while. Who would we, get to do the smoke testing? Is it the local fire department or
Yes.
no? It
Yep,
is?
the
Okay.
local fire department has, sort of jurisdiction on that. You can have your seller call them and they come over. Just real quick, they have, I don't know how other states are. Mass, you have to have smokes and COs on every floor of the home. And they have to be no older than 10 years. So you can get in the weeds on that one, but definitely if you have a listing, you talk to the local fire department or have your seller make sure that's done. And the smoke certificates only last so long. So that's another thing. So who we know, okay, so we know we're going to this house and we definitely are meeting with the seller. Sometimes you do have a person who's selling on behalf of someone who's deceased, one of the Ds in selling properties. So, that we can get into the details later, but that's the only exception that you can meet with somebody who isn't on the deed. What are their needs? I mean, what do they want to do? Where are they going? Who, what, when? No, how about when? Let's start with when. Why do we ask when? When do you want to move?
So Deb, I want to move in the spring.
Okay, why? Tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, because I don't want to be dealing with snow and stuff like that. And I want to get out of here for this and be in my new place in the summertime.
Okay, I get it. And tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, it's just I got the kids and I want to make sure they finish up with school. And I want to if I can, and then we want to get out of here and get over to our new place, get settled in before they start the school year.
All right, now I know when, I know his motivation, and then where. Where do you want to go, Roger? We'll move right into this role play here, right? So where do you want to go? Where are you guys thinking?
Well, I'm in the Plainville area. In my area, my kids are going to be going to the high school, so it doesn't matter. I can be either Plainville, Rentham, or Norfolk because they all go into the same school. So any one of those three towns.
Okay, well, that sounds good. We can get you set up there. Have you looked at, okay, so why are you going out that way?
Well, obviously for the school systems, and I just want to, this was not my forever home, and we're kind of growing out of it. They're all becoming teenagers now, and all fighting over the space. So I need some extra space, and would love to get an extra bedroom because two of them are in the same bedroom.
Okay, so I hear you. I get it. So tell me a little bit more though about that particular location as opposed to some other location.
Well, it makes sense for my commute, and I like the King Philip area. I mean, all three towns, I went to high school in King Philip, so I know that I have buddies over in Norfolk when I lived in Plainville and vice versa. So we all hang out together, and I just want to make sure my kids have the same opportunity and live in the same high school district.
Love that. So it sounds like you want to go home kind of a little bit.
Yep. Yeah, that
And
sounds
you
fair.
want your kids to feel that way, that thing that you have. I can see it a little bit. So, and this is speaking to his like emotional needs here. This is people sell and move and do things really much more on emotional level than school system. He really wants to be back home, I think, a little bit. And how are we going to do that? Where does how come in, and that's where we come in. So what do you guys think of that process, just briefly? What do you think? We're going to do a full one, and then you guys are going to do a full one. So what are your thoughts?
So
My
Judy,
thoughts are, it seems like neither one of you can be stumped. You guys got this down.
So, it's simple. Who, what, when, where, and why. And I don't know if you noticed, but I kept asking, tell me a little bit more about that. That's a coaching thing that I learned somewhere along the line. Never just take the first answer. Ask a little bit more, and now I'm hearing more, the kids, they need more space. The kids are getting bigger. They're in the room together. And he really wants to go back where all his friends are. And, the kids are getting bigger. You start thinking about your own life now. Right? What am I going to do when these kids are out of here? Right? So
And in
Go ahead.
Judy's case, she's just dealing with the opposite situation where they're downsizing.
Right.
So that she learned all that in her needs assessment conversation, which was just a bunch of questions and being curious. And you guys think of that point. If we just keep asking them questions and then probe at least once and even twice after the initial answer, you learn more and you learn the real motivation.
Yeah.
Or you learn the real objections, if you will. Because most people will just give you an answer.
Yeah.
Because until you probe, and when you probe, it's not pushy. It's showing that you really care and you're a professional.
Right. And the other thing too, right, Roger, later, when you getting all squirrely on me and you've got an offer and you don't like the people and you're getting nuts and, you got the clients are in charge of being nuts and we're in charge of the business. So if something's going sideways, I can say, look, I'll dial it down. Look at Roger. Let's get back to what we're doing here. You wanted to really get home. You want to get back to Kingston or whatever towns you said, and that can bring back motivation, because sometimes we all know we get in the weeds on things and we get competitive and blah, blah, and we're going to lose, the end game. Always be pushing, always be reminding them of where they wanted, why they're going through this level 7 stress and the level 5 stress and the level 2 stress, because Roger's taking care of everything, but it's going to kick up to a 9 at some point. Oh my God, the smoke detectors, none of them work and they got to go back and yada, yada. You're going to, no worries. We got it. I've got a friend. He or she can go over and take care of your smokes. And, we're going to get you there. Did you, so these questions I'm asking are for, remember, we listen when we ask questions because we might need these things later. Right? So the screen is this thing. I am knowledgeable and caring and the best agent for my clients. They will appreciate my expertise and preparation and choose me to represent them as they sell their home. Does that look familiar to anybody? Isn't that from something before? Didn't you learn that same thing in buyers?
Yep.
Yes.
Is anybody seeing that this is not so much a sales job? Anybody getting that yet? Let's hear a little aha. It's not time for ahas, but I want an aha on that one.
It's mostly about relationships,
You're right, Ed.
You're just taking time to listen and you're
Yeah.
trying to meet people's needs. So it takes a different approach when you realize you're serving instead of selling.
Exactly, that we all come from contribution, and you're exactly right, Ed. You're running a business. It's the Edward Ford Real Estate International, right? And in this piece, you're in the customer service department of your company. Yes, you have a sales department and a marketing department and a housekeeping department and the financial department, all of the models, right? This is the customer service piece right here. And I think if you take away that part of it as you go on for your day here, that's really what you're gonna, you just remember that this oopsies. All right, so again, I love the direction here. I love the participation. I think you guys are getting it. I really do like it. We should be able to roll through here a little bit and get you out a little early. Okay, so of course, I don't know how you guys are in terms of getting connected in command and making sure you're all, ready to rock and roll, right? So just make sure you get everything into command. If you don't know how to do it, get it done. And again, if you don't know how to do something, ask somebody, and there's usually somebody that'll help you. So that's just the disclosure. Get your stuff into command. And now, while you have time before you get busy with 5 listings, and it'll be crazy. So let's move a little bit forward here to the listing walkthrough. This is a kind of an interesting piece, and you can talk to 10 different agents with 10 different sort of a little bit of philosophy. I think Roger and I kind of have the same vibe, I bet, just as a background piece, I personally, absolutely, positively want to know the price of the house before I walk in the door, if I'm worth my salt. Given, like Judy said, it could be yucky. And or it could be, much, much nicer. So I will have it prepared in our Massachusetts multiple listing. We can make a PDF, we can make a live version. So you guys figure out how you want to handle all that. But the appointment, the listing walkthrough, your seller needs analysis, it can all end up as a listing contract signed, and you can certainly do it all at once. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah, just for understanding, some agents they call it a 1-step or a 2-step. Some agents will go in and preview the house as their 1-step and kind of have that needs assessment, a little bit of that conversation going on and kind of connecting with them, if you will. And then they'll say, hey, listen, all right, great. I got what I need here. I'm going to go back to my office and I'm going to formulate the plan. I'll do some research on the pricing, and then we'll come back for the 2nd step. And then I'll be presenting again and really digging into the pricing, in the marketing, if you will, because now I know what I'm looking at and I have a greater understanding of what you guys are trying to accomplish here. So I'll be back in 3 days, and then you reset the next appointment. But that's just a philosophy, if you will. Some people will do that in 1 step.
Yeah. What do you do, Roger? Just out of curiosity.
Well, so I'm prepared to do it either way, right?
Yeah.
And always be prepared to take
Oh,
a look
yeah.
at it first, because sometimes you walk into the house and you can, and the script can go just like this, and here we'll go, right? And Deb, if you'll play along with me.
Yep.
So after a rapport built, gain trust, forward conversation.
Like the Judy one almost.
right?
Yep.
And I sit down at the table and I say, now keep in mind, Debbie already knows me. She kind of knows me from around. Maybe it's my marketing, and I'm well reviewed, and she's vetted me already. And Debbie's ready to go.
Mhm.
She just she wants to move. I don't want to talk to anybody else. I'm getting that sense. Say, Deb, can I ask you a couple questions before we really get it started?
Yeah, sure. What's up? What? Sure.
So, Deb, do you absolutely have to sell your house?
Yes, absolutely.
And are you willing to price it to sell?
Yes, I have to sell it.
Okay. And given the understanding of the conversation, I think we have a great connection here, and I'm ready to go if you are. Are you willing to let me handle the sale?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's make it happen.
All right. So next things, we just need to go over some quick paperwork, of course. And once we sign the paperwork, then I'll schedule that stager, as I alluded to earlier, and the photographer will get it up and done. We can get this probably done in the next several days, if that works for you.
Right. So
All right.
yes, thanks. Give me some paperwork. I'll sign it. So
And then, commission's all
Roger's-
written, it's all filled out, and she doesn't ask any questions about commission or anything. Sign in the bottom dotted line. It can be that fast.
Right. Right. So to Roger's point, don't be so up in your own business that you're forgetting to listen, that they're kind of ready to go. You're ready to send this fantastic, and you've got your outfit and you're ready to go, and you've been practicing all night, and you're going to get this listing. Don't get into it if they don't need it. So that's a little thing, just a little reminder to recognize that piece. What we're going to go over is the more normally kind of way it goes, right? And I'm going to, so we're going to figure it out. Do you want me to be the homeowner and you take me through the house, or so what we're going to do, guys, we're going to role play. We're going to watch 2 of you guys role play, and then you guys are going to go into some breakout rooms and go for it. Is everybody good with that?
And don't be scared. You're not.
And as new agents, part of this, why Roger and I are good at it, is because we do it all the time. And when you're first an agent and everybody wants you to role play, it's kind of quirky and weird, and you don't know how to do it. We do it so much here. People are like, all of a sudden they go into the, cranky old guy that has a farm that doesn't like anybody. And we go right into role play quickly, and just get used to that. It's much more efficient, and you learn better. It's kind of fun. So you just set it up a little bit. And so let's do it. Rod, you want to meet? How do you want to go for it? We'll just do an example.
Well, why don't we just take it? I'll be the agent, and you just kind of play along. And when you do play along and you're being the seller, if you will, when you're new agents, just say yes to everything for the most part, so that everybody understands. We just want to kind of work through the process. So Deb, we're going to get together next Tuesday. Here we are on Tuesday, or actually Wednesday, and I'm showing up at your house for a little walkthrough, and I'm going to try to close you in one session here, if you will. Okay.
Okay, that sounds great. So you're coming to my house. So knock, knock, knock. I know you're coming, husband or whoever is here. Let's do it.
All right. Knock, knock.
Hi, hey Roger, come on in. How you doing?
Oh, great, Deb. Great. Thanks for having me in. Appreciate it. So why don't we jump over to the kitchen table here and we can get comfortable here real quick. Is that okay?
Okay, you want to see the house or anything, or we'll just talk first?
Yeah, let's just get to the kitchen table. We'll park there and then we'll kind of, that'll be part of the process, if you will.
All right, cool. Yeah, let's go for it.
Excellent. Boom. Sit down. All right.
Down.
So, listen, I love what you see, what I see here so far. Just want to ask a few more questions if you don't mind.
Sure.
Okay. So, but first and foremost, I want to thank you so much for the opportunity to have me over today. I really appreciate this. I know it's a really big deal. And did you get a chance to look over the pre-listing package that I sent over?
Yeah, I looked it over a little bit. I've got a couple of questions, but yeah, it looked good.
Okay. And you can save the questions because I may answer them as I go through this process with you.
Okay.
Don't, please feel free to jump in at any time and ask.
Okay, no worries.
Okay, so Deb, I got 3 real quick questions for you. And, with respects to, do you have to sell your house here, you and your husband?
Yeah, we want to sell. We want to buy a condo down in Cambridge,
Cambridge, awesome.
which I would like to do, by the way.
Okay. And are you willing to price it properly to get it to move?
Yeah, I mean, I want to get every penny out of it as that I can.
Right, I can appreciate that. We all do, right?
Yep.
I'll make sure we do that as well. And are you willing to let me handle the sale today? If as long as you're comfortable after today's presentation?
Yeah, I feel if I'm comfortable, yes.
Okay. And the reason I ask is, most people hire me because they trust me. I answer all their questions, even the ones that they sometimes don't even realize they have. And I'm here to protect you and your family's best interest all the way up and through to the closing. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I do want to let you know, I might be seeing another guy later or tomorrow, just so I want you to know that.
Okay. Does your husband?
Pardon me?
Does your husband know that?
Yeah.
Yes, the joke.
I like it.
And that's fine. That's perfectly
that
fine. Hopefully I can address everything here today that, you would be comfortable and we can handle that situation a little later down the road. So Deb, quickly, one of 3 things is going to happen today. You're either going to decide to work with me today. You may decide not to work with me today, and that would be disappointing, of course. Or I may decide or realize that I can't help fulfill your expectations and get you what you want, and I may decide not to take the listing. And any one of those 3 is okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I'm just going to go over. Do you mind if I just go over my process?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So Deb, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to ask you a series of questions so that I can better understand what your goals and needs are and how I can best help you. Secondly, I'm going to give you a bunch of market information with respects to the market, what's going on in today's market and pricing recommendations and things of that nature, so that you can make a well-informed, reasonable, and rational decision based on your choice of your list price. And then third, I'm going to honestly sell you on why I think I know I'm the best agent for you and Keller Williams and how we get our results. And then fourth and finally, we're going to go through, we're going to take a step-by-step process here. I'm going to go over the process with you. I'm going to take care of all the details so that you don't have to worry about anything. And I'm going to show you the process, and we're going to get you top dollar in the quickest period of time and get you moving forward with your goal.
Got it.
Okay. So you ready to get started?
Yeah, sure. Let's go.
Okay, we're going to start off with those questions. And the first one I have, one of the most important ones I usually have for most of my clients is, tell me a little bit about the motivation here, what you're moving, what your goals are, what you need to do here to make all this happen.
Well, again, like I mentioned, my husband and I want to go down to Cambridge. We've lived in this place and the kids are all in college and out of college, and we're out of here. We don't want this big house, and we just want to scale it down and get our money and get in the city and walk and get our coffee.
Okay.
And the big house thing.
Okay, so fair enough. Now, what's that going to do for you and your husband? Obviously, I hear you saying the kids are kind of taking care of themselves, hopefully. And what's that home that you next purchase going to look like? Does that have to accommodate grandkids, or does that have to accommodate, as you know, or you may not know, but I've had the experience where sometimes the kids come back. I mean, tell me a little bit about the house that you want to move into.
I really want to, yeah, we might want a little room for the grandkids or something, but just want a very traditional Boston city condo, brownstone kind of thing. And we want to do that because we've worked hard and we've, you know, financially, we feel pretty good about it. Don't even know if we're going to have a car. That's our lifestyle we want to move to. We did the years of running around soccer and lacrosse, and I'm over it. I want to just do our thing now.
I hear you. So it sounds to me like you're trying to simplify,
Mhm.
you know, maybe get rid of some stuff and just kind of reduce that footprint, if you will.
Yep.
Okay. And I heard you say no car. So you mentioned Boston. How's that going to benefit you and your husband? What's so important about all those types of things to you?
It's just a different lifestyle, I think. You know, I say no car, but you know, we probably need a car in the beginning, so we'll need some parking. But it's just a different lifestyle. We're looking to maybe retire out a little bit. We're both still working very, 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 but you know, we can do it remotely, really. So we just want to get back into the city where we used to be when we were young.
Okay, so
Back.
maybe an extra bedroom for an office might make sense.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Okay, so Deb, real quickly, when do you want this to happen? In other words, when would you like to be in your next home
I'd
specifically?
like to do it right away. I don't have to worry. I mean, when do you think is a good time for me to sell? Like, I don't know. We're ready to go.
Well, that's a great question, right? So anytime's the best time if it's right for you, right?
All right, off script for a minute. That was a tell. Off script for a minute. That was a tell. This lady wants to go.
Yep.
Right? Do you agree?
Yep.
Yeah. So watch those tells. Listen for those things. Okay, go ahead.
So sounds like you're in a, you know, you're not in a rush per se, but you want to get this done fairly quickly.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, fair enough. All right, I'm going to protect you in your best interest. So there's a couple big pieces here. We're going to sell your house, get that on the market, and then we obviously have to find your house. Do you have what I call a plan B, maybe an interim housing in between there? Should we sell your house?
No, no
You-
plan B.
Okay, tell me more about that. What would a plan B look like if you had one?
You mean like if I sold it and I didn't find my place?
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I guess if push comes to shove, I could live with one of my kids. I hadn't really thought about it, so I guess I got to think about that. You know, my friend said she sold her house and she got to stay there for a while she was looking for a place.
Yep.
I don't know if that's a thing. You know, of course, you know, somebody else is going to be here with their input as well. So,
Right. And, you know, and your husband's input's real important here too, as well. So having said that, so understanding that, and, you know, that's helping me. And thank you for being honest with me. I appreciate it. It's helping me formulate the plan for what we may or may not have to do, so to speak. But if you could, a little homework for you is maybe it'd be a great idea. And I don't know what you think or feel about it is, would that be a conversation you could have with your child just in case there might be some interim time in between? Or we could also consider, you know, short-term rentals or something to that effect, a hotel stay or anything. I don't know if that's in your budget or if your child's willing to do something like that. You might want to just have that conversation with your husband and maybe explore that a little bit.
yeah, we hadn't thought about that for sure because we got a lot of stuff here we got to get rid of. So we're going to have to need some help on that.
Okay, so it sounds like you might have some time, you know, some time here or need some assistance with respects to moving, maybe dumpster services and things of that nature.
Yep, for sure.
So I have some connections and contacts and, you know, I'll make that available to you. It's part of when I take a listing, I do that. So Deb, when we decide to work together and list your house, I'm going to have my stager come through and give us some recommendations with respect to that. What are your thoughts around staging and things?
I don't want to do anything really. I just, if you had somebody to give me a little advice or something, that would be cool, but I'm not going to go. I've got all my plastic poinsettias and I got it all going here and 10,000 pictures of all my kids. And I like it this way. What do you think? Do I have to take all that down?
So would you like me to tell you the truth or what you'd like to hear?
Well, I guess I want you to tell me the truth.
Okay, well, fair enough. So when I have the stager come in, she's going to give you a written report of instructions. You can do some of them, all of them, or none of them. It's always going to be totally up to you in that respect. I always recommend do as much as possible because after all, our goal here, and correct me if I'm wrong, is to get you top dollar in the quickest period of time, right?
Yeah.
So having said that, again, if they're going to come in, and of course, they're going to ask you to declutter. You probably already realize that. And I'll share you some information after this meeting as well to kind of help you, give you some tips and things of that nature on staging and what to do. But certainly taking your personal stuff down because buyers want to see themselves in the house, as you may understand.
Yeah, I've heard that, I guess.
And I'm sure you've walked into a well-staged house before, and it's kind of one of those things. When you see it, you recognize it.
Yeah. Okay,
So
I guess so.
We'll work on that. That'll be part of the process, if you will, moving forward here. So we've got a timeline, we've got your motivation. Can I ask you a quick question? You know, what do you think the value of your house is currently?
I don't know. Zillow says it's 850.
850? Okay.
Because you know, people, they all looked it up on Zillow, right?
Yeah, you know, the public generally sees it in Zillow, and Zillow, you know, it's in the realm of perspective. But, you know, when I look into the numbers, I really look at your comps. I look at the presentation of the house. We consider what you're going to do to prepare it to sell. And, you know, that's going to be a massage, if you will. But, you know, I've got that written down here. So my job here now is to kind of show you and kind of move into the pricing factor here now as well. And we're going to show you some comps, some on the lower side, some on the higher side, some a little bit in between. And I'm going to be looking for you to kind of consider those and kind of choose your pricing off of that. Because after all, at the end of the day, you want to put your buyer's hat and act like a buyer out there when you price your house. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I gotta turn my head around and think about it that way.
Okay, so we're going to move into the next phase, which is the pricing phase, and we'll come out of role play here, just
Yeah.
so you know, and then I would be going into my pricing presentation, and you bet it, you guessed, I'm going to ask some questions about what they think about these three comps.
Couple of questions, Roger, for you.
Yep.
Do you walk through the house yet? Do you go, hey, let me take a look at the house, and then we'll sit down and look at some pricing, because you got to kind of get that before you, what do you think?
So that's a great segue. So why don't we take a quick walk through the house, right, before I talk about pricing? Now, that's assuming that I haven't seen the house. Maybe I've already been in it. I might know
Right.
it. So it might be your best friend's house. So use what I call social intelligence here. We're just using a scenario. When you get there, you're going to make some adjustments and pivots.
Yeah,
So if
you have
my
to use
brother
your
has me
instinct.
over to his house, he wants me to list his house, it's just going to be sign the contract.
Right.
You know, but if it's somebody, but I also don't want to miss the opportunity. Brothers can be the most difficult, family can be the most
Yeah.
difficult. So don't miss the opportunity to say, listen, I want to treat you as a client right now,
Yeah.
you know, brother,
Yep.
let me walk through with you and you can point anything you might know about the house that I may not know because I don't live here. So that's why I kind of want to walk through you real quickly here, you know, so don't miss the opportunity that you should be giving them some sort of presentation, unless of course they're like, yo, dude, I don't want to hear it. Don't tell me price of my house at 850. That's what I want. Okay, well then let's go over the pricing because I'm not just taking it at 850.
Right.
I will if it makes sense, right? Because remember, one of three things is going to happen today. You're going to hire me, you're not going to hire me, or I may decide, bro, I can't help you get 850. If you want to get 850, I know some agents that will take this property and I'll recommend them in here for you because I don't want you to hate me at the end of the day.
Right. Sometimes you got to remember that, guys, with family. Sometimes it's okay to have somebody else in your office take care of it. Just tell them you're not allowed to or something, you know, because it can really, really be very not good. Even don't even list your own house, but that's another story. So, all right. So we've walked around. Okay. We walked around. I'm showing you all my poinsettias and all the 40,000 pictures of my kids and my bedding with the flowers and the whole nine. And you're taking all kinds of secret and meticulous notes in your head. And you're following my lead a bit, asking a lot of questions, but always moving the conversation forward. So we've walked around. Do you take any pictures of like the furnace, or do you ever go, hey, let me shoot a couple pictures just so I can put it in my file?
So depending on my memory, right? Depending on how busy I might be. Yeah, go ahead, but ask permission.
Yeah.
You mind if I take a couple pictures just for recall? These aren't
Just with
gonna
your
be-
phone, just for recall,
Right.
because I'm telling you, you're gonna get home and you're not gonna remember what kind of furnace there is.
Yeah.
When you get back to the office, you're not gonna know. Take a picture of the electrical panel, the heating system, washer and dryer, whatever. Just take some pictures and make it look like it's just official, like you do it with everybody. Even the kitchen and the bathroom, shoot some shots of that, man. So you might need to have somebody take a peek at this and go, ooh, you're too low here. This is a nice house, or ugh. So, all right, off topics. You want to go back into it? Now we're walking back up the stairs, and what are we doing now?
So keeping in mind social intelligence here, right? Don't get into staging recommendations. If they ask, answer the question. Should I, hey, you know, what about this room? Do you think I should paint that? And you might look at it and you might be like, yeah, definitely. Say this. Yeah, I would. Right. But the stager will come in and she'll give you some recommendations. That's going to happen later. But yeah, I would do that.
Right.
Right. Don't go into over explaining why. Yeah, I would.
Yep. Yes or no. And they're looking at us as the professionals that been around and been in a million houses and we know everything. And, you know, some people are focused on things that don't even matter. No, it's fine. you know?
Yeah.
So go on.
So now we're
What
coming
do you
back to the
think?
kitchen table. We're gonna sit down and I'm just gonna pretend we went over the pricing and I'm now gonna just go in for the close. So Deb and spouse, do you have any questions for me? You mentioned you had.
Well, yeah, I have a lot of questions, I just want to know, like, when does the sign go up and when's the photographer coming and how do you show it? Like, I don't get it. I haven't sold a house in 100 years.
So simple enough. The sign will go up, after we sign the paperwork and get going with that. We'll have the stager come in, we'll have the photographer come in after that, of course. And
Mhm.
then when you're ready, the sign will go up and we can do that as quickly or as slow as possible here, depending on your needs. But it sounds like you're in a bit of a rush. So we can do it pretty quickly within the next week here. And move forward. Are you ready to get
Okay.
started with that or?
Yeah, I'm ready. What do you have for paperwork there? I've got to, what I
Let's
have to.
just go over the paperwork here. So this is our listing agreement. I'm going to be acting as your selling agent, listing agent, if you will. We charge 5%, as you can see right here, and it's going to last for the term of about 6 months from the start of this. Sounds like you'll be ready within the week, so we'll get you right on the market within the week, and get you moving forward. Just need your okay right down here at the bottom.
Okay, do you want me to be asking questions, Roger, or do you want me to just agree to everything? Do you want me to give you any objections?
If you have any, go ahead. What can I do for you?
I just want to double check. Okay, we do have, hold on, we got a question and thing. When you said you use a stager, was that just part of a script or do you advise using one? Or could you use an agent, make those staging recommendations, obviously keeping in smoke? Okay, also would you offer to cover, okay, real quick, so Maureen is just checking in on the staging question. There's kind of two ways you go. Normally you find a stager that will do a consultation for $100 or $200, and they will go over and give the honeydew list like you've never seen. Okay, and that's when you do like what Roger says. Look, you don't have to do any of them. You can do a couple of things. Her job is to tell you what she thinks, and that's her style, and that's how she works. But most agents do cover that consultation phase, and depending on the price point, and again, you're going to talk to agents in your office. Do they cover actually paying for staging? And that's a whole nother scene. So I would drop that to market center level and see what they're thinking. And but usually it's a good idea to have some stager person that that does and a lot of them do a one-time little walkthrough, and then they'll even send the people, if they say, here's a dining room light, you should switch it. Here's the Home Depot thing. It's $199.99, and here's the code, and then they order it. And so go on, Roger. I just wanted to do that. So
to answer her question, yes, and yes, right? Yes, I have a stager in my toolbox. Yes, there are some agents qualified to make those conversations, and that's their shtick, if you will, and that's their kind of value add proposition.
Right.
Hopefully that answers your question. But yeah, where were we? Oh.
So 6 months, that seems a little long. Do you think it's going to take me 6 months? The listing is 6 months long. That seems long.
Yeah, no, not at all. I don't think it's going to take 6 months at all. Obviously, if you price it right, we should have this wrapped up within 30 to 45 days, start to finish. But having said that, every now and again, we could get it under agreement and something could happen and fall apart in that respect. And, you wouldn't want me to cross the Sahara Desert with a half a tank of gas when I think it could possibly take a full tank of gas. Does that make sense?
All right, good. So it sounds to me like you're going to take good care of me and answer all my. I'm feeling super confident with this Roger guy. I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready to sign.
Thank you so much for the vote of confidence. Listen, you're in good hands. I'm like Allstate, if you will, right? So I'm going to take care of all the details. You're not going to have to worry about anything here moving forward. I will let you know what you need to know when you need to know it, of course. And if you have any questions or you have any anxiety level going above let's just say a 5, I want you to let me know about it too as well. So, so this right here, and I just need your okay right there, and we will get you started ASAP. I'm excited.
Love it. Let's do it. Sign it up. No problem.
Awesome.
So guys, let's just do what we're going to do. Let's talk about that for a minute. And then we're going to set you guys up into breakout rooms for about 15 minutes. And somebody's going to be brave and go, I'm going to be the agent. And somebody's going to say, you're going to have like a couple, 3 or 4 people in a room. So let's just go right into it. Be that same couple or be whatever you guys do it real quick. Judy, maybe you be the agent and have somebody be that older couple, however. And let's do that thing about we're knocking on the door. It's Wednesday afternoon and we're doing our listing walkthrough. And then you'll see the timer. And then when we get back, we're going to do a really quick ahas and like, what did you take out of it? And then we'll sort of wrap it up. Roger, do you have a comment?
Yeah, real quick, I'm hearing dings, so I don't know if there's people in the waiting room.
That's me dinging. It's people
Okay.
coming and going is what it is.
So
Don't
think
be
of this-
going because you got to role play. You stick
All right.
with it, guys.
So
I have a quick
here's the
question.
thing.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Roger, you said you're gonna do a walkthrough with them.
Yep.
And then your ultimate plan is to use a stager. What if the stager comes in and points out all kinds of things and they say to themselves, well, gee, Roger didn't mention any of this stuff to me. Doesn't that kind of devalidate you a little bit?
So that's a great question. And listen, I'm not doing a walkthrough, doing a staging consultation. I'm just taking notes. And then I'm going to cue my stager in because we're going to have a professional conversation later on.
Right.
That's
He's
not
gonna-
the opportunity to talk about staging there. It's just looking around, viewing it, going, okay, now I'm going to formulate my plan and go away. I do a two-step in that case. And sometimes Deb's ready to go. So boom, she said she signed. Great. Boom.
Sign her up.
And
Right,
now
so
my stager
Roger's-
signed. That's
yeah,
her
just-
role.
All right, so you get that. Roger's gonna talk to a stager. These ladies, they just want to go. Give me your thing, and then Roger will meet with me and go look at. I love her. She, I love my stager. She picks out everything, but let's focus on what she thinks is because you have her pinpoint the first 6 things they need to do. Let's get those done. Because you paying her for the full evaluation. Right? And that's part of your service. So, all right, let's go to breakout rooms, 3 people per room. Does everybody know what they're doing? And let's be brave and let's just go for it. Screens on. Let's make this happen. Then we can wrap you guys up.
So
Ready?
just for clarity, and that's in that room, you guys are just going to focus on walking in the door. Let's go to the kitchen table, sit down, and let's have that needs assessment conversation. Don't go beyond that. Just stay there. That's
Yeah,
plenty of
let's,
information.
the needs assessment. Okay, so the only thing is I'm not sure how long the rooms are for, but let's go for it.
Just hit the options on the left side there, and it'll open up an extra window so you can see how long.
Options where, and the option-y thing down here,
Yep.
breakout rooms.
Yep.
Just take me to that box, create breakout rooms, assign
Yep.
on it, manually let participate.
I'll say, so create breakout rooms, and then,
Oh, and then there's another one. Oh, got it.
then it says options.
Options
There you go.
on it. So yeah, we don't want 30 minutes.
No.
How about, what are we thinking? 10? And you're just gonna do the sort of needs analysis of
Just
who,
do the needs
kind of that
assessment.
first call thing.
Who, what, when,
Set up
where,
an
why.
appointment. Right?
Yep.
All right, good. Go for it. How do I do it? Open. Go.
Open. Yep. Now everybody should have to click that little open and go.
Right? Oh, people are going. I don't know where I'm gonna land, but we'll see. I'll see if people, Brian has moving. I'm gonna move Brian to room 1. Then we're gonna do those guys. Not joined. Brian. Not joined. Roger. Yeah, Judy, Brian. I'm just finishing Ignite. I need about 15 minutes.
Hi, can you guys hear me okay?
All right, what do we have? Here we're back. Christopani killed it. Brian, perfect job. It's easy to be the homeowner. Easier. Oh, can't hear it. Oh, you know what? Everybody comes back on mute automatically, so unmute you guys.
Yeah, no question. It's way easier to be the homeowner because you're not steering the conversation. You're answering questions. The other person is steering the entire conversation by asking questions to get the information they need.
Right. So I think all the breakout session rooms, I think they're all done, right? I think
Yep, they should
good.
all be back now.
All right, good. And look at us, 10, you working all the way through it. So how was everybody's discussion? I'm going to speak first because I was with Brian and Christopani. Am I saying that right?
Mhm.
Unmute. My observation, I actually, when I popped into the room, I thought she was probably not new. I thought, because some people come into Ignite and they're not new. They just come, they want to tune up their listing stuff, or they want to tune up their marketing and they want to tune up their offers and negotiation. So I really did think she was pretty experienced. And I think Brian, as the homeowner, I think you asked a lot of good questions and she seemed to be right on it, right? Okay, you're on mute. Unmute. How do I unmute everybody?
Yeah,
All right, you're good.
Yeah, she did a good job. She asked multiple questions. It wasn't just a one-track thing. She was all over the map in a good way.
Yep.
Asking me what's my motivation, what time frame, how much I want, why another home sold for more in the same neighborhood. So a lot of good stuff there.
Yeah. Okay, Roger. Thank you, Brian and Christopani. Good job. Roger, what do you have? Then we'll
Thank
quickly
you.
go back to the thing and then we'll wrap you up. What do you think,
So
Roger?
I had Samantha, the little baby, and she did the needs assessment and she did good. And, you know, the only observations that we were trying to work on there is when you're asking those questions, remember to ask them as open-ended questions. Always, if you make a statement, then follow it with an open-ended question to kind of get them opening in conversation, you know.
Yeah, the old tell me more about that. And what else? All those sort of questions. Just
And
have
we
those,
did-
you're gonna learn, you're gonna have those in your head before you know it. And tell me more and why do you ask? And
Yeah.
okay.
stay
done.
here. And the baby.
How do you think it felt, Samantha, to you?
Hold on. So it's definitely, this is definitely like my uncomfortable region because I'm more, I'm much more comfortable with buyers right now. Sorry. But,
No, it's all right. We're enjoying your hairdo.
but I was trying like, I didn't want to feel like I was prying too much. And like I told Roger, you know, one of the last questions I wanted to ask was, what do you think your property is worth? Like, I want to know the true value of the house before anything. Like, any room that's, you know, really stands out to you that you have really good memories in, because this might be a selling point for some families. You know,
Yeah.
we role played with a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath. Like, that's a perfect family home for a growing family. So it's like those are iconic. This could have been a baby room, but where he was a bachelor great uncle, the cool uncle.
Fun uncle.
Yeah, the fun uncle, the funkle. Looking to downsize, you know, I was like, I was surprised that, like, you know, I wasn't prepared. You know what I mean? Like, I thought I was prepared, and then being in it, I'm like, wow, I'm not prepared at all.
Well, that's why we do it, Samantha. And thank you for saying that, because you're new. The more you kind of do this is a great class. You know, this is one of the good, you know, it really does. You know, everybody, all the Ignite, they throw you into role play and they stick you into breakout rooms. Just go for it. You know, you're going to come away with this today feeling so much better about it. And then you're going to be getting your hair done more for the rest of the day. And, we all have stuff we have to do. And thank you for joining with, and staying focused. And that's what, when you have a couple little ones or however many you have, you get a lot done, right? 3. All right, there you go. Anybody else have any quick feedback on their experience? And then we'll kind of wrap it up here. Anybody else? All right, so I'm just going to kind of go back in again. Congratulations on everybody taking care of that, and it was all good. So let's just, so where did we leave off? We're at the old listing walkthrough, and obviously we all are going to walk out with our listing contracts in hand, and that's where the next piece is. And let's always do a little thank you note. Whether you get it or not, send them a thank you note. We had some things yesterday, people doing video thank yous. They get in the car and they go, hey, thanks so much for taking the time. I'm looking forward to, working with you, and they shoot it over as a text. So, that's a little added thing. So next piece, so we've kind of done our ahas. I think my observation is everybody's really engaged and I like it.
I have a quick aha. 6 people dropped out.
Well, yeah, that's because they're afraid, and I get it. We were all there, but kudos to you guys for hanging in there. Now, the next piece is something called the listing agreement. This is where we push you back over to the, the old market center, because different states, different regions, everybody has their own listing agreements. I'm sure there's a seller consultation forms class. Make sure you understand them, get them, read them. You're not a lawyer, but have a basic understanding of what they mean, and have them with you in your bag for every meeting you go to for the rest of your life in real estate, right? What else? So any other ahas?
Yeah, real quick to go over that listing agreement real quick is we touched upon that. You're not going to read it verbatim, but if you summarize it real simply. So listen, we're just going to go over the listing agreement here. This basically tells you what I'm going to do for you for the most part, and what you're going to be doing for me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then you just point out, so here's the fee. It's going to be 5%. No pause, no objection, move right on. And it's going to be for 6 months. Move right on. Assumptive closing, right? Boom, boom, boom.
Yep.
Just need your okay right down here. We can get you started.
Absolutely.
You guys do a class on that process?
I think that's more market center specific.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
regionally it would, we can't be whipping out forms that you guys aren't even using or whatever. So Massachusetts is all about lead paint and Title V, All right, so let's recap a little bit here. So we've talked a little bit about acknowledging and understanding an A qualified seller, A minus, B, whatever it may be, kind of talking about the importance of getting an appointment. We focused on the listing appointment ourselves, and we really kind of, I think, workshop that pretty good. And of course, you're going to go over your relative documents for your own particular market center. Oh, somebody's coming in. I don't know. And then, what's your mindset today? Like, how has your thinking changed? What new ideas or mindsets? What was new to you? Can anybody share how their thinking has changed?
My thinking has changed from every question I ask, I'm gathering information. See what I'm saying? I'm not just asking them a question. I'm asking them for a reason.
Yeah, you're not just talking to talk. You're asking and you're moving the conversation forward by doing that. Now, who else? We're getting little here on who we got left. What do you feel differently about? What was meaningful to any of you guys today?
Can I say something real quick?
Sure, yeah, Jason.
So I actually went to the breakout. I never got there. So that's why I had to log off and get back in. So maybe that happened to some other people as well.
Okay.
I was going to breakout room number 3 and it never actually got me there. So then I got out.
Sorry about that. We apologize. No. Technology isn't great, but hopefully the rest of the thing has been helpful. Do you feel anything differently about the class today as moving forward?
Oh yeah, definitely. A lot of great information as always. Good job of explaining and answering questions. I just don't want you to think that I was like jumping off the call.
Okay, with no worries. And then how will your behaviors be different going forward? What actions are you going to take? Oh, Maureen said it happened to her too. Bummer. Oh, well, we'll figure it out. So how will what actions are you gonna take today?
Who's gonna practice this script for their listing presentation?
We have 3 things you need to do, right? You need to get your listing pre-package or your listing presentation thing, find somebody in the office, get that done, like by next week. And then you're gonna practice doing some scripting, and I would also recommend finding somebody that will allow you to shadow a CMA or seller consultation with them just for kicks. And what tools, models, or systems will you use to help keep you accountable? How do you keep? Anybody have any tools they might use?
So here's a question. What do you think we just discussed today that would be considered a tool for you?
The listing packets.
Yeah.
Bingo, right? That's your tool. What's the system that you're going to follow in building up that listing package? What's the system that you're going to follow in practice? Is a script a system?
Yes.
Right. So understanding the difference between tools and systems, and then the leverage, going all the way back to the beginning of this conversation, listings, leads, and leverage. Leverage is understanding what systems and how they help you. Can you imagine if, using Sam for an example, if you had that listing system down, meaning the conversation, how comfortable and cool you'd feel and confident you'd feel, and knowing what to do in the end is, hey, listen, you willing to put me to work today? Ready to get started? Those are closing statements, and they go yes or no. And if it's a no, oh, I'm confused. What did I miss? Do you have more questions? Or if it's yes, let's go through the paperwork, next steps, right? In understanding that system to get there. And that's just the conversation. It's the script, if you will.
Right.
The tool is the presentation, the paper that you're going to hand them.
Right. I like it. So success system, we're always going to go back to this thing, you know, in order to get yourself in front of somebody, you've got to have 10 conversations a day, 10 contacts added, send out those handwritten notes, do your social media 10, 5, 1, get appointments, get agreements, and get closings, right? What else we have here?
I asked somebody this the other day. Let's pretend that you've exhausted all of your family, all of your friends, everyone on Facebook, and they're all in your database. How do you add 10 new contacts a day?
Great question.
Good question.
So, ask that question to yourself. Where can I meet new faces, new people? Who do I know that isn't in my database? Or what groups could I join? What associations could I affiliate with that have multiple people? What businesses do I interact with on a daily basis or weekly basis that I'm walking in? Because after all, I'm talking to human beings.
They need business.
What social groups? What
Yep.
church do I volunteer for? Should I go back to church? I'm Catholic. I haven't been in a church for 40 years. Well, maybe that might be a good motivation to show up on Sundays and just be around 100+ people.
Right.
And-
Find a business group, Rotary, Chamber of Commerce, bowling. But you know, do what you do. Like, I'm not going to go sponsor a bunch of 5-year-old soccer team because I'm not there. I did when my kids were little, but you know, right now I have different business and social things that I do. So find out what you get out there, go to Home Depot and hang around. I don't know. You've got to get yourself out there and find a networking group, a BNI, Rotary, the Chamber of Commerce, the library. Is there a book club? Is there a recreation department in your town that you could be the guy at the front at the thing when the people sign in? I don't know. Think out of the box and just keep it moving.
Deb, let me ask Brian a quick question. Brian, what do you have for interests? Do you like sports?
Not really.
Okay, what do you like? What do you like to do in your spare time?
I love going for walks.
Okay.
So if I'm out at Livingston Park, where hundreds of people walk every day, how could I approach a total stranger and make them feel comfortable and
Right,
then
without being
eventually bring
creepy.
it up?
Okay, first things first, Livingston Park,
Yes, in Manchester, New Hampshire.
they,
Well, hooks
they
it.
have a park ranger. Or somebody in charge of the park.
No, it's basically a walking trail around a pond. So it's basically, it's a 1 mile walking trail and a lot of people go there, like
You
hundreds
have a
every day.
dog.
I do not have a dog.
Do you
You
have
like-
any Keller Williams hats or sweatshirts or?
Not yet. Not
Get
yet.
one.
Yeah, I'm actually not even in the office. I'm laid up at my house. I just got my cast removed. I got a tube in my arm going into my heart.
Oh,
So,
Lord.
yeah, I got my surgery right before Christmas, but today I'm getting my stitches out and I should be back in the office hopefully within a week or two.
Okay, Brian, you going back to the doctor. You're gonna meet the receptionist, the nurse, and the doctor. Hey, guys, listen, I'm gonna let you know, I sell real estate. I'm a local real estate expert, and I just want to let you know you took such good care of me. I want to take good care of you. So if you should need
Nice.
any help with real estate related questions, I'd love to be that resource.
Here's my
for you.
card.
Here's my card. Do you mind if I grab your digits?
Yep, and how about this one? He needs a black T-shirt with a QR code on it that says printed, ask me about real estate and walk around the park.
And walk the park, right? And I want you to grab a bag and a little poker stick. And I want you, when you're walking that park, all the scrap paper, clean it up. People will start approaching you.
I like it.
That's
just
a great
walk
idea.
In the
That's a great
bag,
idea.
have some Keller Williams logo on it. Your shirt.
Yeah, get a bag that's, yeah.
But be
Do it.
discreet with it, right? You're
Now,
doing
is the
something.
QR code real?
Yes, a
just-
QR code. No, you find your MCT, somebody in your office. Everything can be a QR code. A business card can be whatever it is. Have somebody make a QR code, get on one of those things, order a T-shirt. I saw a lady with it on, a black T, and every guy in the gym should have a lady,
That is brilliant.
and then have it go to your website or a sign-in, something. So don't come out of a class with 1,000 things to do. Come out with 3 things to do, pick them and go for it. Hats, guys wear those hats. You can ask me about real estate. You can buy those already made, on people with little kids, they have my mom sells real estate, those kind of things. Brand new baby tees. My dad sells real estate and you post it on the Facebook and everyone loves it. It's cutest thing in the whole wide world.
Like the girl
So-
that's having her hair done by the little girl. That would be
Right.
adorable.
That little girl needs a hat. Look at her. Says my mom sells real estate. I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
Look at her.
So real quick for you, Brian, and everybody else, same question. Based on what you learned today or heard today in 2 seconds, whatever, what's one thing that you guys will do and implement in this next week? Brian.
One thing, real quick,
Just
go.
one.
I'm gonna try and get the hats.
Order a hat right now. Good.
Okay.
Samantha,
Go
I'm gonna go right around like Brady Bunch. Samantha, what's one thing you're going to do today with your cute little assistant?
I'm gonna order probably a shirt with a QR code on it.
Yeah. Do it up.
And then
Perfect.
time management. I'm just gonna practice in the mirror and because I'm a talker. I just need
Yep.
to get to the point, get it done.
Yep, find one of your friends and say, hey, can I come over your house and do a CMA for you?
Yeah.
Just, your sister, your brother, somebody, one of your girlfriends, just go over and practice on somebody's house. All right, Christofani, what are you gonna do? One thing.
I'm definitely gonna order a shirt with the QR code. I like that. I guess.
All right, that's one thing. Judy, what are you gonna do? One thing. Remember, this is for new business and getting listings. And what are we gonna do? Judy?
So I walk the beach with my dog every day. I might have to get 2 shirts, one for my dog and one for me.
Oh, I love it.
That would be awesome.
Awesome. Jason, one thing.
Definitely gonna get some clothing and then also print out the buyer and seller presentations.
Yeah,
and just
get
kind of
those done. Just
Me
even
too.
just with a blanco one that's in command. Don't even make it fancy. Just print the thing. Get what you need, get fancy later. Maureen, one thing.
I'm gonna focus on having the meaningful conversations. I like when you guys were doing the script, I think Roger says anytime is gonna be the best time if it's the right time for you. I love that. I'm gonna have to steal that.
Oh, yeah. R&D for
Write
sure.
it down and put it on your mirror and read it every day.
Right. How about you, Barbara or Doug? I don't know if they can. Some people are at work and they kind of listen and can't chime in. Let's see if anybody has any comments for one thing. Anybody in the chat? I've got to go. Okay. So my one thing is hoping Brian feels good and better with all of his boo-boos. And I just want to say thank you to everybody. You guys have been great. I hope you came away and thinking, look, I can do this thing. No worries. Let's get it. Let's pull the trigger and get going.
And I got 2 killer contacts out of Massachusetts to use to, I'll be sending you some work.
Honestly, love it. And look at Chris Stefani's got her little one. Let's see her. Oh my God. Now I'm all distracted. I'm not gonna be able to work the rest of the day. So cute. All right, good job, everybody. Roger, take us
Yes.
out. What do you think?
Well, listen, take one thing at a time. Make sure you do your one thing today, and then next day you do one more thing, and you will build it.
Absolutely. Build it and they will come. And I appreciate you guys being on screen and interacting, and we'll let you go. You've got 6 extra minutes of your day. Let's make some phone calls. Let's talk to people. Let's get, even if someone isn't going to sell for 2 years, say, you know what, I can come over and do a baseline. Kind of could use the practice. Did a class today. They kind of said, you know, maybe if I could practice on somebody, would you mind? So go for it. See you later.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye-bye,
Great
everybody.
class.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Thank you, guys.